Published at 28th of August 2023, 12:40 and 46 seconds p.m. Chapter 366. Chapter 366. Business. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 366. Business. There were large animals in the mountains, many of them actually, but they were not to be hunted. Xiao Xian found a herd of wild sheep, mountain deer, and muntjac several times, but the distance was not close, and the mountain road was not easy to walk. By the time they walked over, they would have gone nowhere. They were not professional hunters and they were not strong enough to run after them. Shao Xiaoqi might be able to cope up, but not the rest. No one would allow Shao Xiaoqi to hunt them down alone anyway. What if something happened to him? Anyways, what they had got was already enough. Back at home, Xiao Xian and Tao Tao started to make the jelly together. The fresh creeping figs worked well. When the jelly that was solidified like crystal in the large porcelain bowl was ready, they used a spoon to scoop small pieces into the small bowl to break it, added the boiled honey syrup and a little mint juice, and carried them out. Everyone from the first section of the family seemed to look forward to the jelly, including the two youngest children who were really eager to eat them. Yuezheng, Shao and Jingrong got even more curious about it. When the jelly was finally served, they saw how it looked and became aware that the waiting was worth it. They took a spoonful of it quickly. It was smooth, tender, and elastic. The sweetness of honey and the coolness of mint adjusted the taste of jelly, turning it into a delicious snack. Yuezheng Shao was surprised. How amazing! How can the fruits lead to such a thing? Jingrong was very impressed as well. They were born noble and had been offered numerous delicious things, but they were only served when the dishes were ready. That was the first time for them to pick the ingredients, make them and see how the dishes were prepared. So they found the whole thing really interesting. The fruits that looked so ordinary had been turned into such crystal clear jelly after some processing. It looked beautiful and was delicious too. Xiao Xian smiled. Later, I will ask my husband to write the recipe to you, and you should take some of these fresh fruits back. It's too late today, but you can add some chopped walnuts, chopped peanuts, raisins, etc., or even diced fresh fruit to this jelly. It would taste excellent. It's a pity that there is no ice at home, otherwise adding crushed ice makes it more delicious. Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong thanked her happily. Yuezheng Shao looked at the couple and suddenly smiled. Brother Shao, and sister-in-law, I have an idea. Why don't we open another store and just sell this jelly? Brother Xia, join us as well. I'll find 2 reliable dessert masters. Besides this jelly, if I think about a few other things, this shop will definitely be operated well. Brother Xia and I pay the cost, and we share the profit equally. As for the raw materials, Brother Shao and the others provide them here, and the store buys them at market prices. Xiao Xian had predicted something like this to happen. She exchanged a look with Shao Yunduan, who did not object, so Xiao Xian smiled. That should work, when it gets hotter next year. We can find some fruits before it happens, otherwise the raw materials would not be enough. But we can't just keep looking for fruits, since their availability is totally out of our control. We can buy land and plant them ourselves. Yuezheng Shao smiled vigorously. You can think about this whilst we can find some suitable store for it. We should make it work, though it is a small thing, the profits should be huge. Published at 28th of August 2023, 12:40 and 45 seconds p.m. Chapter 367. Chapter 367. Not aware if audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 367. Not aware then they started to have some discussion about the new venture. In this way, the recipe should not be spread around and Jingrong, Yuezheng Shao expressed that they would only ask their most trusted servants to do that, not others. Moreover, they would never tell anyone that the creeping figs were the original material used for making the jelly. Xiao Xian was glad because with Yuezheng Shao's help, she would be able to open the shop soon. All she needed to do henceforth was to lie still and get earnings, instead of being worried about getting set up by competitors. Although she did have the plan of opening a few dessert stores after a few years, she also believed that finding a partner would help a lot. However, one store would not bring in much money. Only a chain of shops would help to bring in a lot of profits. They could serve sugar water, jelly as the main dishes whilst adding some exquisite pastries and snacks. As for how they should do that in detail, they needed to have some more discussions. Qiao Xian did not need to worry about page boys that ran errands, because Yuezheng Shao and Xie Jingrong would help with that. They could arrange someone to do that and there would be no obstacles for them. It was definitely much easier to do the business in a partnership than being alone. Yuezheng Shao and Xie Jingrong stayed back at the first section of the family for dinner. Rabbit meat was fried in oil, the roosters were stewed in water, and a few small grouse were simply marinated and then deep-fried. They were the size of pigeons, and were easy to cook in a pan. The skin was golden and crispy, the meat was tender and juicy. They made another pot of sauerkraut and mixed fish, and stir-fried 2 fresh vegetables. They were going away the following day, but they would visit them and stay overnight when the new house was built. Miss Fong smiled and nodded at the 2 guests in enthusiasm. Qiao Xian and Miss Fong prepared a lot for them to bring away, including bergamots, roosters, hares, fresh mushrooms, fungus, some fresh fruits. Since they were leaving, the dinner was prepared ahead of time. They were just about to eat dinner, when Shao Liulang and third uncle arrived. Third uncle was feeling a bit displeased. Yunduan, your friends are here, why not ask your cousin to join you, you just don't know what to do. Shao Liulang had been studying at the college in town for years and he could figure out people better than his family did. Judging from Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Shao's manners, he could tell that they were not in a low position and that they were not just some rich people or ordinary businessmen. Especially Xie Jingrong, who looked so handsome and well-behaved. He was definitely more than just an elegant man. Shao Liulang let out a sigh of relief. Hearing that the first section of the family was receiving some guests, who were Shao Yunduan's rich friends, he had the intention of coming and seeing what was going on. He did not expect his mother to come with him because he knew clearly that his mother would ruin his face. He did not even want Xiaoji to come along, fearing that she would cause trouble as well. Hearing what his father said, Shao Liulang interrupted with a gentle tone. Dad, don't say such words about your cousin. We are in a good relationship, and his friends are mine too. He probably thought that I would not like joining them in the mountains, thus he didn't tell me about it. Third uncle was startled. But it is fine. Just go home, Dad. Mom is waiting for you at the dinner table. Third uncle had no idea what made his son do so, yet he believed that he had a reason for his behavior. So he had to press down his questions and quietly left in silence. Shao Liulang walked up in a manner he considered elegant, and greeted Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Shao with a smile. My name is Shao Yunjiang from Minghua College, Yunduan's 6th cousin. How should I address the two of you, Pai? Published at 28th of August 2023 12:40 and 45 seconds p.m. Chapter 368, Chapter 368, Forget it if audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 368, Forget it. Yuezheng Shao almost rolled his eyes. Why should I tell you how I am addressed? Shao Yunduan felt very helpless. He did not think that his cousin was leaving anytime soon and he could not drive him away either. Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Shao could not just reveal their identity but mentioned their surnames. You can call me young Master Xie. Me too, I am young Master Yu. Yuezheng Shao said inwardly that not everyone would be allowed to call him young Master Xie, it was already an honor. Otherwise, they would not even want to look at this young man. Shao Liulang did not find the attitude of the two of them embarrassing. He smiled and sat down comfortably. Oh, two young masters, greetings, welcome to our village, Shao Yunduan. Anyway, he decided to keep a low profile. The moment third uncle left, Miss Fong asked Tao Tao to shut the door. Miss Fong regretted not having closed the door to avoid the trouble. Seeing the flattering smile on Shao Liulang's face, Miss Fong could not help but feel furious. Soon the sound of door knocking arose, and instead of opening the door, Tao Tao went to get her mother. Miss Fong came to open the door with Yang Xiaoni and Tao Tao, seeing that it was Ms.Mi at the doorstep. Ms.Mi glanced at Miss Fong who did not let her in, so she snapped angrily. Eldest sister-in-law, what are the two young masters doing here again? Why didn't you ask our sons and Miling to join them into the mountains for hunting? You can't possibly be avoiding us just because you have befriended some rich people. Miss Fang almost fainted out of annoyance. They are Yunduan's friends. Ms.Mi pursed her lips. So what? My sons can make friends with them too. Those two young men were just slightly richer than they were, so what? Ms.Mi would never want to befriend them but for their looks. Those two handsome young masters were just right to become her daughter-in-law. Ms.Mi was still wondering which young master she should pick for her daughter. Miss Fang snorted. They like quietness, and don't prefer spending time with people they don't know. Ms.Mi's lips pursed. They can develop friendship, right? Are they leaving soon? Will they come tomorrow? Miss Fang's eyes rolled as she replied with a sarcastic smile. Of course they are leaving, but I am not sure if they will come back tomorrow. Ms.Mi heard that and decided to squeeze in. I will go and ask them. Save your breath. They are leaving soon. Miss Fang said, you can ask Yunduan. Don't try to push your way in. Ms.Mi was unconvinced. Miss Fang sneered. Those roosters and wild rabbits are not enough for you. Hearing the threat, Ms.Mi was still annoyed but did not dare to counter her. All right, I will come and ask Yunduan later. Fine. Miss Fang shut the door and kept Ms.Mi outside. Ms.Mi was not convinced. But she did not want to argue with Miss Fang so as to leave a bad impression on the guests. She stared at the first section of the family's house and decided to wait until the guests came out. She would step forward then to meet them. Let's see if Miss Fang would be able to stop her. If Miling could marry a good family, the first section of the family would be honored too, right? What were they trying to hide here anyway? The eldest brother kept talking about how united they were as a family. Published at 28th of August 2023 12:40 and 44 seconds p.m. Chapter 369. Chapter 369. Too annoying if audio player doesn't work. Press stop then play button again. Chapter 369. Too annoying. They lived separately and they only cared about themselves. They should not trust him too easily. In the hall room, dishes were served at the table, and Shao Yunduan, Shao Sanlang, Shao Xiaoqi as well as Shao Liulang were all keeping the guests company. Shao Dalong and eldest uncle were not yet back. They were not at all shy to talk about everything. Chu Shan and the page boys had been provided food as well. Miss Fang and Xiao Xian had not yet started to eat, because they were waiting for Shao Dalong, Miss Su, and eldest uncle to return. Even though Yuezheng and Yuezheng Shao ignored Shao Liulang completely, yet he still behaved as if he were very well-mannered and learned so as to leave a good impression on the two young masters. He did not intend to leave when the dinner was served. Especially when he saw the delicious dishes on the table. As the strong scent went into his nose, he could not help but swallow down his saliva. Shao Liulang did not believe that the first section of the family had made those dishes. He assumed that Yuezheng and Yuezheng Shao had brought the food from some restaurant from the town. That made him feel even more envious. The dishes must have cost a lot because they included meat and were delicious, well-made and filled with rich ingredients. These two young masters were so generous. They must belong to really rich families. As they were seated, Shao Sanlang and Qi also took their seats. But Shao Liulang said, "Third cousin and Qi, you don't read. What is the point of being seated here? You won't understand what we are talking about, you can leave us here instead." Shao Sanlang rolled his eyes. Leaving them here? Whose home was this? He not only came to their home to show off but even behaved as if he were the master of the family. Shao Sanlang did not want to be talked down to. Before Shao Yunduan said a thing, he smiled. "Sixth cousin, this is not right. What about you going back home and asking the third aunt to prepare a table of dishes to treat the two young masters?" Shao Liulang stiffened and asked with displeasure. "What do you mean?" Yuezheng said, "Sanlang and Qi are both very nice." Yuezheng Shao laughed. "Let's just eat. We should leave before it gets too dark." Shao Yunduan smiled and nodded. "Please." Shao Liulang was quite displeased but said nothing more. Seeing that everyone started to eat, he could not stand it anymore. He took a piece of meat and bit it, and found that it was delicious. He added half a golden fried grouse, and it was amazing as well. He wished that he could even chew the bones. Shao Liulang kept reminding himself to remain well-mannered, still he just could not help but reach for the dishes. He enjoyed it so much that he forgot to suck up to Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Shao. As a result, Shao Yunduan and Xie Jingrong as well as Yuezheng Shao had a nice chat with each other. It was a good meal, but it was a bit disappointing for some outsiders to get in. Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Shao didn't eat much, but Shao Sanlang and Qi didn't want to let Shao Liulang eat too much, so they kept eating. By the end, Shao Liulang was quite full. Xie Jingrong, Yuezheng Shao waved goodbye to Shao Yunduan and Ms. Fang, as they put the things onto the wagon and were about to leave. Yuezheng Shao had taken away the 1,500 lipsticks and 500 lip balms. Qiao Xian planned to make several more lip balms, since they just had this much raw materials. Published at 28th of August 2023 12:40 and 43 seconds p.m. Chapter 370. Chapter 370. Goodbye. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 370. Goodbye. Generally speaking, Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Shao were very satisfied by what happened. They enjoyed the landscape, hunted, ate good food and started a new business plan. They waved goodbye to each other at the door. Xie Jingrong tried his best to go forward just to speak a few words with Xie Jingrong, trying to hold Xie Jingrong's hands. But Xie Dong could not stand it anymore and separated Shao Liulang from Xie Jingrong. He said impolitely, "Stay away from my young master." Xie Jingrong glanced at Xie Dong and said calmly, Okay, do not be so rude to brother Shao's cousin." Hearing that, Qiao Xian almost burst out in laughter. Xie Dong apologized. "Sorry for being so straightforward, sorry." Instead of saying anything more, Xie Jingrong gave him an understanding look. Xie Jingrong was a very outstanding man, and was used to being pestered by outsiders. He knew what to do so as to turn people down. But he had never run into someone as annoying as Shao Liulang. Shao Liulang understood clearly what Xie Jingrong meant. He forced an embarrassed smile and his cheeks turned red. Having said the words, Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Shao went onto the wagon. At the same time, Ms.Mi rushed forward with Shao Miling, whose face was flushed. "Oh, two young masters." Ms.Mi rushed forward and smiled. "It is getting so late, why not stay for one more night? We have 2 empty rooms for you to stay overnight." Second aunt, "These two young masters still have business to do and anyways, we can entertain them well. Don't worry about it." Shao Yunduan had not wanted to start an argument with them, but they were getting more and more ridiculous. Ignoring him, Ms.Mi shouted, seeing the wagons which were ready to leave. "Two young masters, have you both gotten engaged?" Xie Jingrong was speechless. Yuezheng Shao chuckled, lifted the curtain and said, "We are both engaged, and our fiancés are born noble, good at flute, chess, calligraphy and painting. Even their maids are good at reading and writing poetry." Ms.Mi. Yuezheng Shao laughed, nodded at Shao Yunduan and put down the curtains. They left as the coachman whipped the horse. Ms. Fang sneered. "You are older than them, right? How can you ask them such a thing? What would you do if they were not engaged?" Ms.Mi snapped angrily. "I am just asking, okay? They are my nephew's friends, and they are younger than me. Why can't I ask them about it?" Second aunt. Shao Yunduan threw a cold look at Ms.Mi. "Second aunt and third aunt, stop being so arrogant in the future. We live separately, so don't try to get involved in our business. Also, don't ever think about befriending my friends, otherwise, I will do something about it next time." Thank goodness Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Shao were people with a good temper and had a good relationship with him, otherwise the whole thing would have been so embarrassing. But what about the future? He might make more friends. If every time, the second and third section of the family kept getting themselves involved in his business, it would be very troublesome for all. What? Remember what I said, second aunt. Shao Yunduan said coldly and left. He wasn't a very talkative person, nor did he get angry easily. So, when he did get angry, Ms. Nyo and Ms. Fong were both startled. Published at 28th of August 2023 12:40 and 42 seconds p.m. Chapter 371, Chapter 371, Son-in-law. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 371, Son-in-law. Ms. Fong, who had been holding down her anger for the whole day, finally lost it upon hearing what Shao Yunduan said. She sneered at Ms. Nyo. Heard that? Stop messing around. Why can't you just live your own life well? Why do you keep causing others trouble? I will not be nice to you anymore, if you continue like this. Ms. Nyo told herself that they had never been nice to them. Ignoring her, Ms. Fong and her family went back to their home and shut the door. Ms. Nyo said furiously, "What are you so angry about? You are just mean people who get lucky. What is the point of being so conceited just because you have got a rich daughter-in-law?" Ms. Nyo mumbled and left hesitantly. She was totally disappointed. Her son-in-laws were gone. Why were they engaged? That was such a pity. Ms. Nyo dropped the idea when the two young masters were engaged. It was never easy to break an engagement. But Shao Miling looked disappointed. Shao Miling felt so ashamed when hearing what Ms. Fong said to her and had almost dropped the idea. But she got totally dumbfounded when she saw the two young masters personally. The two young masters looked so handsome that she just could not move her eyes off them. She had never seen such good-looking people before. Shao Miling became very excited about getting married, far more than her mother did. But the dream was broken so suddenly. When Ms. Nyo left, Shao Liulang got startled and brought himself back, as he knocked at the door. "Fifth cousin, please." He had a lot to ask Shao Yunduan regarding the two young masters. He had never met such characters at the college and he had never heard of them before either. But they were so outstanding that they would always draw attention. How did Shao Yunduan get to know them? Shao Yunduan stood in front of him as the door was opened. He asked coldly, "What else do you want?" Shao Liulang could not help but feel a bit timid. But the next second he got a bit furious and asked with displeasure, "Fifth cousin, why do you speak with me like this? I never want to mess around with you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can behave arrogantly in front of me." Shao Yunduan stared at him coldly. "Shao Liulang, your behavior was way over the top. They are my friends, not yours. I hope you bear my words in mind, and don't try to pretend as if you are the master of the family and speak some strange words." Shao Liulang got so furious that he could not utter a word. Shao Yunduan shut the door after throwing a cold look at him. Shao Liulang did not realize what happened after standing at the door for a long while. He clenched his teeth and said, "What are you being so arrogant about? The two young masters did not complain about me, you are just jealous of me having a nice chat with them." Shao Liulang always spoke well of himself and he was not even bothered to conceal that. He just felt so ashamed to have his drawback been pointed out. How dare Shao Yunduan speak to him like this? That was so irritating. Did he think that he was going to turn to him for help? He should wait and see who would be the beggar in the future. Published at 28th of August 2023 12:40 and 41 seconds p.m. Chapter 372, Chapter 372, No next time if audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 372, No next time. Only his cousin had influential friends? He had friends too. He was going to bring his friends home for him to take a good look at. Shao Liulang left angrily. After dinner, eldest uncle looked at Shao Yunduan with a confused yet long-sighted look. Yunduan. Shao Yunduan looked at his father in a composed way, and eldest uncle subconsciously stopped himself. "Dad, if you are going to talk about what happened today, you can stop right here. Brother Xia and Yuezheng are my very important friends, and they can't be troubled. Second aunt keeps asking about their marital status whenever she runs into them. Do you think that is a proper thing to do? The sixth cousin is so arrogant that he thinks highly of himself. They didn't say a thing about it, otherwise it would look really bad on our family. If I pass the examination, there will be more such guests in the future. If they keep messing up like this time, do you think that I can afford to offend every guest? Not everyone is so good-tempered like Brother Xia and Yuezheng. I am letting you know there is no next time. If they continue to act like this, we'll drive them away without any negotiation. Having said that, Shao Yunduan left with Xiao Xian. If his relatives behaved like that all the time, he would lose all his friends and have his reputation ruined. Also, if he passed the examination, the guests might not be here for real friendship, but just for connection and reputation, which should be regarded with even more care. If those relatives kept behaving like this, something bad would definitely happen sooner than later. Shao Yunduan did not care about their behavior in the past, but they kept giving him trouble again and again. Eldest uncle realized that his son was very angry this time, and he felt quite guilty and almost didn't say anything. But when thinking about the whole family, eldest uncle felt perturbed, so he added, Yunduan is getting more and more irritable. Second sister-in-law didn't behave well, but she loves her daughter. Anyways, I will speak with her about it. Liulang is also a learned person, and he was simply sitting there entertaining the guests. Miss Fong sneered. Ms.Mi is totally shameless. If I had not stopped her, she would have taken Miling straight to the two young masters. She even suggested that Miling should take care of them. That sounds so horrible. I felt so embarrassed by her. How could she have done something like that? You have totally spoiled her. Let me tell you, if they ruin my son's business, I will kill them all. Eldest uncle's face changed. How could that be possible? Also, Liulang, honestly speaking, is so stupid and old-fashioned. He can't read or do any work, but he pretends as if he has read a lot. Who would even want to talk with him? Letting him receive guests. He came over without being invited and he drove Yunduan away because he thought he was the owner of the house. I got so disgusted by how he tried to suck up the two young masters. They could not even eat a comfortable dinner. They love talking with you privately, so you can tell them that they should stop being so disgusting. Eldest uncle. He was both angry and sad. How could they behave like this? After the guests were gone, Xiao Xian, Ms. Su and Tao Tao started to make lip balms again. They had little beeswax remaining, and they finished making lip balms within a few days. After this, they were going to resume making lipsticks after the end of next spring, when they harvested honey and got the wax. Xiao Xian was not in a hurry. Rare things were always precious, and she had made it with her own special skills. No one would be able to steal her market even when she ran out of stock. Instead, people would crave for them more than before. Published at 28th of August 2023, 12:40 and 40 seconds p.m. Chapter 373, Chapter 373, T-Seeds. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 373, T-Seeds. She had more than 10,000 liang, and when the lip balms were sold out, she would earn 12,000 liang in total. She had so much savings. Xiao Xian also gave money to her family after selling the lipsticks and lip balms. Miss Fong received 100 and the others obtained more than 10 liang. Everyone present had made efforts and worked carefully and hard for her. What she needed to do was to teach them how to do the work, so she could let them be on their own. That saved her a lot of trouble, and for that, she offered them good profits. When lipsticks were done, Qi, Tao Tao, Shao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni went into the mountains again, to find the creeping figs. She decided to buy some more land at the Zhang village to plant the creeping figs. But the fruits would not be harvested until autumn. They would need to find some more fruits to open the dessert stores. If the wild-growing creeping figs were not enough, then the opening of the dessert stores would need to be postponed. They could sell other desserts to start with, but the first reactions would not be that striking. The crystal-clear jelly was not only good in appearance and in taste, but also had strong plasticity. It could be paired with crushed nuts, fresh fruits, syrup, milk and many other things. Even Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Shao had never seen it before. Therefore, the jelly had to be used as the top-selling item for the store. The creeping figs were climbing plants, and they were growing in a large area. Xiao Xian used her superpower and saw a big patch of it. They spent more than 3 days getting all the fruits home from the deep valley. They were all so motivated to get those fruits home because they could be used to produce such excellent dessert. Finally, they had quite a lot in stock. Thinking that the tea trees they had planted should ripen by this point, the whole gang went to pick the seeds of tea together. Xiao Xian was going to store the seeds for the next spring, so she could cultivate the buddings and do the transplantation. She was going to use her superpower to make the trees grow faster, better and healthier, which solved all the problems of transplantation that everyone else worried about. She was going to dig some buds from the mountains for the land, which would need to be expanded. When the planting was done, they could just wait to receive the money. They came to the forest of the golden sprouts. It was not the time for tea harvesting, but the trees grew so well that every leaf seemed to be lush and vibrant. As they approached the tea trees, they could smell the scent that freshened up their mind. Xiao Xian could not help but take a deep breath. The excellent tea leaves were really outstanding. There were many tea seeds falling down in the bush. Xiao Xian ignored those that had not yet ripened on the twigs. The unripe tea seeds could not be used as the real seeds. It was not very easy to pick the right tea seeds from such a messy bush. They had no other tricks except for using their eyes and hands to seek carefully and pick. They needed to be very cautious when they were doing the work, in case they damaged their fingers. Xiao Xian smiled. "We are working so hard today. Let's have a delicious dinner tonight." Published at 28th of August 2023 12:40 and 40 seconds p.m. Chapter 374. Chapter 374. More land if audio player doesn't work. Press stop then play button again. Chapter 374. More land that cheered up everyone. They laughed and agreed to her proposal heartily. It was never easy to make a table full of dishes, especially when it came to the people who ate a lot. Xiao Xian did not cook every day. Normally it was Ms. Su and Yang Xiaoni who cooked, and Tao Tao helped. Now Ms. Zu's cooking skills had improved a little, mainly because she was willing to put seasonings, and knew how to put various condiments such as oil, salt, sauce and vinegar together. In addition to the vegetables in the yard, there were also dried bamboo shoots, various dried mushrooms, and fish. Shrimp, meat, tofu and other delicious ingredients that were cooked over a fast fire, and the taste would be equally good. Xiao Xian had thought that the seeds could be picked within 1 day, but the time was limited, and she had to postpone the work of golden sprouts. It seemed that they needed to work 1 more day to pick the lavender. After around a week, when a new patch ripened, they could come and pick it again. That was very troublesome, and the harvest was full, so Xiao Xian made a calculation and found that there should be at least 20 or 25 kilograms of it. The seeds were raven, plumpy, oily on the surface, looking really good. Xiao Xian could easily feel that what was hidden under the shell was full of liveliness. They did not stay late in the mountains. By the time they went home, the sun was just setting. They gathered the seeds, and after taking a shower, Xiao Xian started to make the dinner. She had already put dried shrimps, and dried hairtail in hot water, and now they were ready. She even put some sea cucumbers and abalones in water, but she was going to leave them until tomorrow, since it was very late to make it this evening. Dishes like braised sea cucumber with scallion and braised abalone in soy sauce had been made twice before, and her family loved them. They went into the mountains and brought some things back, including shrimps, hairtails, and 1 rooster. The dishes included roasted shrimp in tomato sauce, refreshing and sweet, and pan-fried octopus, which was tender and delicious. The rooster was made with garlic and green onion as the main condiment, so they had 1 dish made of ginger and spring onion chicken. Miss Fong had bought 2 chunks of tofu. She cut them, fried them and cooked them with mushrooms. They picked some vegetables from the garden and finally everything was set. The whole family had not eaten dishes made by Xiao Xian in days, so they could not help but eat 1 more bowl of food. The following day, they brought some seeds of lavender home. They were not as many as those of golden sprouts, but there were not 2 less as well. They could do 1 more round of harvesting. Xiao Xian had not expected that they could fill up the 5 mu of the field at 1 go. She had not hired people for this level of project, and they could barely manage it personally, so they would take the amount step by step. They would plant one more patch in the following year. Xiao Xian felt a bit guilty when the whole family was helping her diligently. So, she told Shao Yunduan that she would buy some things in the town when he went to the college, like winter clothes and so on. We will go to the agent and buy some more land for the creeping figs. We will plant over dozens of mu. And we will need to find people to open the land in the tea mountains. We can speak with the land officer at the Zhang village. If the villagers are willing to help us, we can hire some from the nearby place so they could also earn some money. Shao Yunduan nodded and then looked at her. We are not living there, and Uncle Erju is taking care of things for us. We should visit the land officer if we need his help. I agree. Published at 28th of August 2023, 12:40 and 39 seconds p.m. Chapter 375. Chapter 375. College. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 375. College. The land officer of the Zhang village was a little greedy, but Xiao Xian did not care much about it. But the premise was that no one should not try to trick her and Shao Yunduan as if they were fools. They reached an agreement. They would go to the town together on the day when Shao Yunduan intended to head to Minghua College. Xiao Xian had 2 large bergamots and decided to take them to Mingren Tang and give them to Manager Qin. Xiao Xian already asked Shao Yunduan if he was going to give some things to the teachers at college. Shao Yunduan shook his head and turned her offer down. The 3 teachers at Minghua College were not outstanding in knowledge and they were not the same when treating others. One person called Mr. Zhou was even worse. He treated those students from a rich family in a friendly manner and even inquired about how they were doing, but he always ignored students like Shao Yunduan who hailed from the village. Before Shao Yunduan became the cultivated talent, they did not think that he was promising at all. It was not until he became a cultivated talent and married Xiao Xian, when they started to treat him nicely and passionately for a while. Later, when they realized that the Qiao family never visited him and he did not talk about his relationship with the Qiao family, and that Xiao Xian was just a concubine's daughter, they tried to stay away from him. But for being the cultivated talent, they would even drive him out of the college. The 3 teachers had been living in town and they hung out with rich people sometimes. So, they were quite knowledgeable and were different from normal villagers. They could clearly see how the Qiao family treated Shao Yunduan. Xiao Xian must be a disgraced daughter of a concubine. Hence, the Qiao family would not like this son-in-law of theirs. Therefore, they would not mingle with Shao Yunduan. As a result, even Shao Yunduan treated them like ordinary teachers. They were given some small presents, and during festivals, they were given a dozen eggs and 1 or 2 chickens, that was all. Xiao Xian had no idea what was going on at the college, but she followed what her husband told her. As Xiao Xian reached Mingren Tang, Manager Qin was extremely cordial to her after not seeing her for a long time. His eyes were sparkling seeing the 2 large golden fruits. He could not help but praise them. Bergamot was one of the best tributes offered to the ancestors of gods and Buddhas. For those who were a little more particular, there must always be a pair of big bergamots served at home. But it was not easy to get the top-grade big bergamots because in the process of growth, bergamot was easy to get scratches, and the bergamot with scratches could only be used to fumigate the house as a decoration or as medicine. Madams and ladies from rich people really liked bergamots. When Xiao Xian offered the present, Manager Qin decided to take them home to his mother, who would get really pleased. He would be very happy when his mother was happy. He could not help but ask Xiao Xian. Mrs. Shao, do you have any other similar ones? If yes, please spare some to me and I will buy them at a reasonable price. It was a great thing as presents. Xiao Xian smiled. You are too late, Manager Qin. It is not easy to get the fruits without scratches. We only had 4 and the other 2 have been given to young Master Xia and young Master Yuezheng. Manager Qin was startled. He was very surprised that Xiao Xian was hanging out with the 2 young masters. Oh, that is a pity. But if you have more in the future, spare some for me too, okay? Xiao Xian nodded with a smile. No problem. Published at 28th of August 2023 12:40 and 38 seconds p.m. Chapter 376. Chapter 376. The Creeping Figs. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 376. The Creeping Figs. Manager Qin laughed and thanked her. He was not going to steal the fruits from young Master Xia and young Master Yuezheng. They had a small chat and after that Xiao Xian went shopping. She went to the cloth shop first, and bought a lot of fabrics suitable for cutting clothes in autumn and winter. The ones she had bought in the province were not meant for winters. After that, she paid page boys to deliver them to Mingren Tang, which the page boys agreed to. She also bought some skin care products at the cosmetics store. Lipsticks were already very popular, and Xiao Xian overheard some rich ladies and madams talking about lipsticks at the store. The women were greedy for the lipsticks, and they kept urging the manager to see if she could get some samples from the province. Even paying 7 liang for one lipstick was okay for them. Their housekeepers had been to the province many times but they all failed to buy even one. The manager smiled helplessly. She would very much like to buy the lipsticks which were famous everywhere by now, but it was the third young master of the Yuezheng family who ran the business. Moreover, they always ran out of stock as soon as they were placed on the shelf. Where was the chance for finding spare ones for the outsiders? The lipsticks were precious and extremely short in supply. The manager just could not get the chance to get even one. Xiao Xian was quite surprised. She had not expected that such highly priced lipsticks could be sold in this small town, but the truth was that all women loved to look pretty. Her lipsticks were the only existing products in the whole world and no one would be able to resist the charm. They still had many spices prepared at home, and those things did not go bad so quickly. She had bought them from the province. She walked around the market and decided to take some pork home. Fresh pork would last a few days under such weather. She bought ribs, pork belly, hind legs, pork knuckles, as well as pork liver, pork belly, spending nearly 300 yuan at one go. The butcher sold her the meat with an enthusiastic smile and gave her a pig heart as a present. Xiao Xian thanked the butcher with a smile, and began to think about what to cook in her heart. She thought about making stewed pork ribs, deep-fried pork ribs this evening, sweet and sour braised pork the next day, and half of the pork belly would be made of twice-cooked pork and half steamed with noodles. She decided to make stir-fried hind legs, and salted pork knuckles for the day after tomorrow. Pork belly, pork liver, and pork heart were all prepared for tonight. After processing the remaining ones, she could fry the hot and sour pork belly, pork heart, and pork liver with pickled vegetables. Ginger slices would be used to remove the strange smell from the meat. Scallops and eels would be added to make it more delicious. She was drooling for pork which she had not eaten in a long time. After delivering the meat back to the pharmacy, Xiao Xian went to the market and bought a few more things. Then she went into a restaurant, ate one bowl of noodles before heading back to Mingren Tang, where she waited for Shao Yunduan. Shao Yunduan met her at the scheduled time. They went to fetch the agent, rented a wagon and headed straight to Zhang village. The agent did not turn down such a huge business deal, though he was very curious about what they wanted to do with so much land. But he knew that he should not ask them about this. The land officer of the Zhang village did not hesitate to sell them the mountain land which was not that valuable anyways. Shao Yunduan expressed that he would like to hire someone to clear up the land, which pleased the land officer as well. He promised that as long as the staff were properly paid, they would work hard and well. The villagers had run out of farm work after the autumn harvest. They could do some extra work and save a little money for the new year. No one would turn such an offer down. Chapter 377, Tea Mountain. After the agreement was reached, Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan went to visit Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou. The couple were very pleased to see them, and received them in the main room. Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian had paid a visit to them during the autumn harvest, which was a month ago. Ms. Zhou poured some tea for them and Ding Erju talked about what was going on with them these days. Hearing that they were going to open up the barren mountain, Ding Erju became serious and attentive. We already spoke with the land officer about this. Uncle Erju, you can decide regarding who to hire and how to manage it well. It would be best if we can sort out at least 500 mu of tea mountains before the new year. 300 mu of it should be ready for the planting of tea trees. Apart from these lands, there will be another land as large as 100 mu, which would be for other plants. Ding Erju nodded constantly. Okay, I will speak with the land officer in the afternoon and take over the job. The tenants are available right now, and with the help from the Zhang village, we can definitely clear through 300 to 500 mu of land. That's good. Xiao Xian smiled. If anyone asks about the salary, we are offering 31 a day and lunch included. The lunch will be meat and vegetable steamed buns or rolls. They could not specify the dishes because there should be at least more than 100 people working together when the project starts, so steamed buns made everything easier. Aunt Zhou, you can make some steamed buns with a few women at the village, and they should be paid 21 a day. You can buy the fillings from town and at least 1/3 of the fillings should be meat. Xiao Xian believed that labor should be well served so that they could be full of energy to work harder. 31 a day was considered to be a high payment. Ding Erju felt concerned on their behalf, so he said, the salary is too high, and the competition would be fierce. That would be quite troublesome. If it was 15 a day, that would be a relatively average price for those who craved to earn some money, and those who were selected to work for them would not protest. But 31 a day would be really appealing for everyone to come and join them. It would be very difficult to choose whom to hire. And those who could not be hired would definitely complain. After all, 70% of the villagers were surnamed Zhang and Xiao Xian and her husband were outsiders. They just could not be a match against those who were local residents. High payment and one lunch which served meat steamed buns, that would be so tantalizing for anyone. Hearing Ding Erza's thoughts, Xiao Xian was startled. She had just felt that the work would require a lot of energy and 31 per day was something within her budget. But Ding Erju knew more about how those farmers were thinking. Shao Yunduan looked at her gently and smiled. He knew pretty well what his wife was thinking. 31 a day is a bit much, what about 21 plus lunch? But we need to set a rule, like 2 steamed buns with fillings and 2 pure steamed buns, 1 steamed roll for each worker. Those who don't take lunch would get extra pay. The size of steamed buns with fillings can be as big as that available in the market while the steamed buns and rolls can be larger. It should be enough for 1 adult for lunch. Xiao Xian smiled. Okay, that sounds great. As for the workers, each tenant's family can offer 1 person and we would hire them all. Chapter 378, Hiring. Apart from the tenants, there should be at least 100 households in Zhang village, right? Just see how many of them want to join the project. If everyone wants to be part of it, then we can only divide them into 2 batches, 1 for every other day, and only 1 person is hired from each household. Shao Yunduan added. We only need strong young men, and other people can join if a family doesn't have strong, young men. Ding Erju nodded and said with a smile, okay, I understand what I should do after hearing your plan. 21 a day with lunch, that is tempting for everyone, except for those who are too lazy to work. The 3 of them talked more in detail, regarding how to separate the groups and exclude those who were lazy at work but active in eating and getting money. Gradually, everything was sorted. Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian would come to them again after 3 days, when Ding Erju and the land officer completed the final deal. If all went well, the project could start real soon. Xiao Xian looked at their house and smiled. This house is okay for the moment, but not for the winter. We need to have someone watch over the tea land, and to have grains stored and the creeping figs planted. We will need to have one place for that. When the tea trees are done, we will build a huge house here and both of you can move in. Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou had been thinking about going into the town and buying some paper to add to the walls of this wooden house. They even thought about saving some money to buy coals and blankets and make some thick winter clothes, but Xiao Xian started to talk about building a house. Xiao Xian had mentioned it once before, but she and Shao Yunduan never mentioned that again, so Ding Erju and Ms. Zhou did not take it seriously. Maybe they had some other plans and decided to leave this one aside. After all, Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan did not owe them anything. They needed to solve their problems themselves rather than wait for the new house to be built. Hence, they were both shocked upon hearing what Xiao Xian said. Shao Yunduan added his view as well. It is time to have it built, otherwise it would be inconvenient. Yeah, I want to dig a pool to raise fish and plant lotus roots too. Ding Erju felt quite embarrassed. Alright, then, we will move into the new place, thanks to you again. When we have more money in the future, we will build 2 more rooms. Xiao Xian smiled. Just live here if you want to and we will build the house next to ours, which is very convenient. They had a son and they could not possibly just live in the house which Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian built. So for a long-term plan, they still needed to build one for themselves. Ding Erju smiled brightly and nodded. Ms. Zhou was very glad as well. Before the couple left, Ms. Zhou asked Xiao Xian. Dear niece-in-law, can I ask my mother to help me with steaming buns? Shirtu is still too young to go about by himself, and I need someone to watch out for him in case he runs into something unpleasant. Ms. Zhou was a mild person but her mother was not so gentle. Ms. Zhou needed her mother to back her up. If the women who worked took them at will, or their children came to fetch them, or even the children from the village offered the eagerness to fetch the steamed buns, Ms. Zhou would be too timid to say no. Xiao Xian smiled. That is a good idea. I was worried whether you could spare more time and energy into it. It would be good that your mother comes over. The land officer's wife could help as well. Both your mother and the land officer's wife can earn 31 a day and you will be paid monthly, which is not included in this. Chapter 379, Uncaring Ms. Zhou let out a sigh of relief and said with a smile, I don't work that much and I am still getting paid. Now that I have work to do, I can't get extra payment this time. Xiao Xian laughed. You have helped us a lot. Without your help, we would not have harvested the rice so smoothly. The tenants had no idea who on earth Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian were, except that they were from outside the village. But for the couple who watched them doing the harvest, they might not have been honest in their efforts. Some might even have harvested some to their own home first. But during the harvest, there was always someone who was watching them work. Ms. Zhou and Ding Erju were both quite embarrassed. That is what we ought to do. After Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan left, Xiao Xian still believed that the payment was quite low. She smiled at Shao Yunduan. If all goes well after we are done, we can even give the red packets to each laborer. I think 51 should be good enough, what do you think? Shao Yunduan nodded and said to her, you can spread the news around, so they may work harder for that goal. Xiao Xian's eyes brightened as she chuckled. Yeah, they should be motivated enough not to cause any trouble or allow anyone else to cause trouble. Shortly after Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan were gone, Ding Erju went to visit the land officer of the Zhang village. The land officer always believed that Ding Erju was Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan's relatives, so he treated him very politely. They had a very smooth and happy conversation during the deal. Xiao Xian knew that the local hooligans had some reputation in the village, and the land officer of the local area should be given some extra benefits for containing them. When the land officer got the benefits, Xiao Xian would get him to hire the villagers to work for him so he could be pleased too. Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan went back to the town, fetched what they left at manager Qin I's place and headed home. Bull cart was a bit slow and Xiao Xian smiled. When the new house is built, let's buy a donkey cart for faster traveling. Shao Yunduan nodded. When the new house was built, they would have a lot of space to put the donkey cart as well. They could not think about buying a wagon, since it was quite difficult to obtain. Even those rich people in town would not be able to afford a horse sometimes. When they went back home, they shared the presents with the whole family. Those presents were of different categories, including clothes, food, and daily necessities. Miss Fong smiled with a sigh. We all have savings, and we can buy what we need ourselves. You don't have to buy us anything. You and Yunduan should save money for future use. Miss Fong firmly believed that her son would make it to the next level and his studying would cost a lot of money. Xiao Xian smiled. Don't worry, Mom. We barely spend any money, and we have savings as well. Also, we are making a lot of money too, right? Miss Fong chuckled. True, and that is all because you helped us with it. Miss Su was very delighted. She had been thinking about making winter clothes, either with her own money or the shared savings. But Xiao Xian had brought so many materials home, even cotton. That saved her a lot of money. Young Xiaoni was glad too. She placed the garment on herself, asking her husband if she looked nice. Chapter 380. Unwatchable. Shao Sanlang nodded and kept speaking highly of his wife's good looks. Young Xiaoni felt bashful. Her cheeks were flushed but her eyes were sparkling, and she smiled brightly. Miss Fong did not look at them while the rest pretended not to have seen the whole episode. The couple had always been like this and the rest of the family was used to it by now. 3 days later, Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan went to the Zhang village with the required money. They finalized the deal with Ding Erzhu, Ms. Zhou's mother, land officer and his wife regarding opening the barren land. All the villagers at the Zhang village were glad about this project and almost every household applied to work on it. So, they were divided into 2 batches and took turns in doing the labor work. The land officer received a huge red packet and he was highly motivated. He said that he was going to watch over everybody so that nobody would get lazy during the work hours. Hearing that there would be an even bigger red packet after the project was done, the land officer became even more delighted. Xiao Xian smiled. We would need many more laborers for our tea mountains. Work hard and we will hire more people. Those who don't work hard would have to be excluded, and we would hire people from other villages, the land officer nodded. Don't worry, we are all down-to-earth people and we will work hard. I will get rid of those sneaky ones for you. The land officer and his wife felt energized and devoted when he heard that there would be more money to make in the future. The wife was going to be in charge of making steamed buns, and she would be able to take a few more since she was in charge. That was such a great deal that should not be let go of. No one would allow anyone to make trouble about this. Most of the workers were those who needed such temporary tasks. Seeing that Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan were able to afford the land, they suspected that they had some mysterious and powerful supporters behind their back, thus not daring to cause trouble for them. So soon, the work started full-fledgedly at Zhang village. The first morning was a bit chaotic, but at noon everyone queued up and got to eat steamed buns. Not only were they big, but the meaty buns were really full of meat when they took a bite. Everyone finally believed that the owner didn't lie, and the wages must be the same. So they were definitely going to work hard to earn the extra red packets of bonuses. They worked obediently and occasionally. There were a few who got lazy, but before Ding Erzhu and the land officer's son reprimanded them and everyone slowly straightened out. Everything went well. No chaos appeared, generally speaking. Steamed buns were steamed on a temporary stove in front of Ding Erzhu's house. Needless to say, the 7 working women and their children who came to have fun ate together at noon. Also, the other children came to the stove as well around lunchtime. They were all drooling for the steamed buns by the time they were cooked. Not every household was able to afford to eat steamed buns like these. Xiao Xian wasn't an unscrupulous person. Although the flour used to make steamed buns was not the best, it was still quite good. The authentic flour was steamed in a big steamer, and it gave out a strong fragrance. The land officer's wife did not want to offend the fellow villagers, so she could not do anything about the situation. She could not even drive away people who were queuing up for the steamed buns. Ms. Zhou was not capable of turning them down alone. But Ms. Zhou's mother used a huge basket to hold steamed buns and rolls and gave them to each child until the basket was emptied. Those who failed to get the steamed buns could queue up the next day. Chapter 381. Almost the children left cheerfully after they ate, but those who did not manage to get the buns refused to move. Aunt Zhou, Ms. Zhou's mother, coaxed them away and asked them to come back earlier next time. Some women could not help but complain. But we have so many left, let's just give them one. Aunt Zhou said, the owner is too kind-hearted, but we can't just indulge ourselves. They make money with hard work too. 40 steamed buns for free every day, that is so generous of our owner. How about we not offer any starting from tomorrow, so we all save trouble? The woman said with a smile, No, you are right. Our owner is already generous enough and I should not have said such a thing. If the 40 free steamed buns and rolls were gone because of what she said, many people would blame her for being nosy. Her intention was to show her generosity through others' generosity, but she did not want to ruin what existed right now. The woman regretted so much as not to say such a thing. The land officer's wife could not help but add, Aunt Zhou is right. We need to stick to the rules. Our owner is so generous and kind like no other, we can't just get carried away and offer free food for our children too. We need to be reasonable, since we are being paid well. The others nodded in agreement. Not everyone was able to eat steamed buns throughout the year. But for the owner's agreement, Aunt Zhou would not have done so. If they offered more than they should, they might offend people and get complained about. Maybe all children from the village would hear about it and come to fetch the free steamed buns. What should they do then? Moreover, who would pay for the extra steamed buns? A few days after this happened, Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan came to check on the situation, and Aunt Zhou told them about this. Feeling grateful, Xiao Xian gave Aunt Zhou and the land officer's wife 2 red packets, each of which contained 21. Surprising fortune would always cheer people up. The land officer's wife had understood one thing: if they worked hard, they would always get some bonus. She would have gained nothing extra if she did not interfere, whilst others would take advantage of it. Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan were quite assured in heart, seeing the field clearing project went well. Small problems and some fees could be ignored. They decided not to split hairs on those who worked for them and had everything sorted out smoothly. They could even stop giving the children steamed buns and rolls or drive them away, but that would cause a lot of conflict and dissatisfaction in the near future. If some accident happened, the villagers might offer a helping hand or just stand around watching the show, depending upon their treatment of the villagers. They could not keep asking for help without giving anything in return, which would make them look miserly and wicked. Proper kindness and generosity would make people feel grateful and cherish what they got now. Being kind without asking anything in return often caused trouble. Seeing that everything went well, Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan were totally assured and they came to check things every 5th or 6th day. Chapter 382, Shao Liulang's guest. When they got some time to spare, Xiao Xian checked around in the yard and floral field, planning the dessert stores. Tao Tao and Qi offered their help as well. Whether or not the results turned out to be successful, the family did not complain. Instead, they ate up all the failed dishes. Young Xiaoni was especially glad. She was so happy to be able to eat different desserts every day. Xiao Xian was thinking about asking Yuezheng Shao to pay attention to a few ingredients, such as sagos, cassavas, and sweet potatoes. The Yuezheng family was involved in vast businesses and they had more information and other resources than she did. Sagos were very useful for desserts. Cassavas could be made into powder for the small balls put in milk tea. Sweet potatoes could be made into many things. Xiao Xian tried to use flour to free up some starch, and made taro balls with steamed, mashed taro puree and pumpkin puree. They looked good, but did not have good texture. Seasoned with honey, sweet sugar juice, Xiao Xian was not very satisfied with it. They definitely needed cassava's powder. So she was going to suggest Yuezheng Shao to raise some cows to produce milk. But it was not very easy to obtain cows, which might not be able to produce so much milk anyway. There were many small things to deal with if such a store was opened, but the profits would be magnificent as well. Seeing that there were not so many fish remaining in the tank, Xiao Xian decided to go to the river to fetch some fish in the afternoon with Qi, Tao Tao, Yang Xiaoni and Shao Sanlang. It was already very cold, and they could not possibly go into the water, but they had a fish net that could be used to get some. But by lunchtime, Shao Liulang suddenly arrived with a strange-looking young master. Yang Xiaoni went to open the door and she was very startled seeing the 2 young men. Shao Liulang looked quite proud. "Fifth cousin, are you here? My friend and I are here for a visit." The The young man next to Shao Liulang was wearing a sapphire blue satin gown with a cross collar, and his hair was tied high. He was about 22 or 23 years old. He was tall and thin, with fair skin, but his face was a bit long, and his eyes were cloudy, giving people a rather frivolous and indecent feeling. He was very arrogant. He did not like this place, nor did he like Shao Liulang. But Shao Liulang seemed to suck up to him constantly these days and invited him to his home multiple times. He turned the guy down enough times, but he was feeling bored at the moment, so he nodded and agreed to come. The moment the door was opened and the young master saw young Xiaoni, his eyes started sparkling. He straightened his back, trying to look as if he were a real gentleman who behaved gracefully. However, a pretentious man who had a terrible appearance just looked ridiculous when he tried to act like a gentleman. Yuezheng Shao had met real young masters like Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Shao, so when she saw someone like this in front of her, she laughed. The way he looked at her made young Xiaoni feel quite disgusted. Young Xiaoni was a very sensitive woman and figured out that this was not a good man at all. But this seemingly elegant man smiled at young Xiaoni, who got startled and took a few steps backwards. The young master laughed even more proudly seeing her behavior. He thought that young Xiaoni was just feeling shy. Young Xiaoni turned around and left directly, ignoring Shao Liulang completely. Chapter 383. Proud. The young master smiled even more proudly when he saw young Xiaoni's retreating figure. Shao Liulang frowned but then smiled at the young master. She is just a countryside woman who doesn't know how to behave, don't get angry, okay? Young Master Zhao was not mad. Instead, he looked sleazy and laughed. Who is that? Shao Liulang had always been trying to suck up to young Master Zhao, who never spoke to him of his own accord. Hearing his question, Shao Liulang said, "My cousin's wife." He could not help but complain. She is from the Yang family. Her brother and sister-in-law are such horrible people. Our family should not have married someone like this, but my cousin fell for her, so he insisted on marrying her, no matter what. Shao Liulang shook his head and said disdainfully, "My cousin is so simple-minded, he just likes her look, not anything else about her, so stupid." Young Master Zhao laughed as he thought of young Xiaoni's looks. He smiled. This girl did look very pretty, and it was quite normal that she could fascinate some men. But what a pity that she married a countryside man. It was like putting a beautiful flower upon cow dung. Hearing Shao Liulang coming in, Miss Fong came out of the room and frowned at him. "What are you doing here, and who is this man?" Miss Fong glanced at young Master Zhao and felt disgusted inwardly. This man looked so pretentious. She was experienced enough to understand immediately what young Master Zhao was like. Shao Liulang looked very proud. Young Master Zhao is the second young master of Master Zhao in the city, my fellow classmate at the college. He is here visiting me, and we came over to talk to my fifth cousin. Shao Liulang looked so proud, as if he were showing off. Look how generous he was to have brought his friend with him. He was sharing his friend network with Shao Yunduan. Miss Fong did not get what Shao Liulang meant. She did not like this young Master Zhao, but they were here after all, so she could not drive them away. She asked Qi to fetch Shao Yunduan. She was thinking about speaking with Yundan not to talk with this man too much because he looked absolutely ill-mannered. Shao Yunduan was reading in the room, and Xiao Xian, Tao Tao were in the yard, working. Hearing the sound of door knocking, Shao Yunduan walked and was surprised to see young Master Zhao. He knew this man, for sure, the younger son of Master Zhao, and Zhao Ming's brother. Zhao Guanghua was studying at a college in the province and did not come back until the beginning of the year. News spread that he came back home because he had a fight at a brothel with someone, and he got so humiliated that he just could not face anyone there anymore. He was expelled from the college and was forced to return home. So here he was. He was a very arrogant man. Just because he studied at a college in the province, and had no one with the same background in this place, he believed that he was the best and the only worthy one around. Chapter 384. Evil Plan. The Zhao family was one of the richest families in the local area, and many people were always trying to suck up to them. But Shao Yunduan was not one of those. In his opinion, Zhao Guanghua's appearance surprised him but did not please him. On the other hand, Shao Liulang was feeling quite proud. Brother Zhao is here to visit me, so I am showing around. Shao Yunduan said inside his heart, thank you very much, damn. He did not intend to receive Zhao Guanghua at his home. He was not a well-mannered man, considering he had a fight with someone else for some woman at the brothel. Most importantly, he did not want him to see Qiao Xian and Tao Tao. Shao Yunduan greeted politely and said, we have many people at home, sixth cousin. We can have a chat at your home. I would like to have a chat at your place, brother Shao. Zhao Guanghua still dreamt of meeting Yang Xiaoni again. If he could stay, he might see her again. He did not intend to do anything else right now, but he was always attracted to beautiful women. As he thought about how favorable he might look compared to the farmer she married, he believed that Yang Xiaoni was definitely going to love him deeply, and regret having gotten married so early. In this way, he would feel really satisfied and proud. If he could at least speak with Yang Xiaoni, then he would be content and feel a little smug. Shao Liulang also intended to go home, but hearing what Zhao said, he replied. We can definitely sit at your home to chat. Cousin, you would be very happy, right? Shao Yunduan frowned. We have no good tea to serve young Master Zhao. So, please, young Master Zhao, this way. Shao Yunduan held his cousin's arm and walked outside. When he and Shao Liulang both left, that man should not stay as well, right? Hey, you, Shao Liulang, who had intended to protest, got startled seeing Shao Yunduan's cold look. He was dragged away wordlessly. As they walked out of the yard, Shao Yunduan glanced back at Zhao Guanghua and said, please, hurry up, young Master Zhao. He did not even wait for him to join him. Zhao Guanghua had no choice but to follow. He felt quite annoyed not to have been able to flirt with the beautiful girl he had drooled at. For now, he had no choice but to leave. He just did not have the reason to stay here, when the owner was gone. Zhao Guanghua glanced at Shao Yunduan and asked ironically. Yunduan, you are not trying to drive me away from your house, right? Of course not. Shao Yunduan raised his eyebrows and said peacefully, my home is quite small, and we have no good tea. I just don't want young Master Zhao to suffer from the inconvenience, thus turning you away. Is that so? Zhao Guanghua could not believe that. Of course yes. Shao Liulang was cursing Shao Yunduan inwardly but had to defend him. Brother Zhao, honored guests like you always light up someone's home, and my cousin wishes that you could be here, but he is quite stubborn, so just drop the idea. Zhao Guanghua thought for a while. He did not think that there would be anyone who would refuse to hang out with him, given his background. He might have overthought about this. He smiled. Oh, okay, my bad. It is okay without tea, I am not that particular, we can do that next time, okay? Chapter 385. Not to his home. Shao Liulang kept saying yes, but sneaked a look at Shao Yunduan. He felt quite sour inwardly. He had tried his best to get young Master Zhao to his home, but the esteemed guest became more interested in Shao Yunduan instead. That was really annoying. Shao Yunduan could not help but feel a bit worried. He could not understand Zhao Guanghua's purpose of trying to befriend him and wanting to visit his home. Then he thought of how his sister Zhao Ming was hanging out with Qiao Wei, and he suspected that he might be here digging around seeing what happened to Qiao Wei. The elder Miss Qiao was so annoying. The more Shao Yunduan thought about this, the more he believed that it was the truth. Shao Yunduan did not trust him that he was here to visit his cousin. So, he was not going to let him get close to his own home. He had accompanied Xiao Xian to the Qiao mansion, and he knew that Xiao Xian pretended to be very obedient and quiet, honest in front of the family. She didn't even get mad even when she was laughed at. If Zhao Guanghua saw how bright and stunning she looked, he might leak that news. So, Shao Yunduan sped up. At the third section of the family, Ms.Mi had just killed a chicken and was getting ready to cook. Seeing Shao Yunduan coming over, she got very displeased, but she did not dare to say anything and just glanced at him. Shao Yunduan had not noticed this since he was thinking about Xiao Xian all the time. Shao Yunlang tried his best to suck onto Zhao Guangna, who did not bother to respond that often, while Shao Yunduan was mostly silent. The three of them were killing time in this way. Shao Yunduan had intended to leave before lunch, but he was worried that Zhao Guanghua would move to his home with an excuse of saying goodbye, so he stayed. Ms.Mi could not stand it anymore and forced a false smile. Yunduan, aren't you going back for lunch? Shao Yunduan smiled. Sorry that I have to trouble you today. Ms.Mi. Shao Liulang did eat at the first section of the family's home the other day, and he still remembered the amazing food. Also, he just could not drive away Shao Yunduan at this point. So, he stopped Ms.Mi directly. Ms.Mi had always adored this precious son of hers, so she said nothing more even though she was annoyed. She just left with a twisted face. Soon the dishes were served. Ms.Mi was quite terrible at cooking. The chicken was so roughly made, okay looking, but was the only properly prepared dish. The other two vegetable dishes did not have any oil. Shao Yunduan stopped after moving the chopsticks symbolically. He could not eat anything like this after trying the dishes made by Qiao Xian. Zhao Guanghua was the same too. He frowned after trying one bite, and could not stand the taste anymore. He was young Master Zhao, and he did not care about this badly cooked chicken. Only Shao Liulang kept eating happily. He even told Zhao Guanghua to feel at home, without noticing that Zhao Guanghua already dropped the chopsticks. Zhao Guanghua glanced at him, twisted his lip corners and felt disdainful. No one would come to this person's home for a visit if he had not been bored. He did not deserve his visit. Zhao Guanghua was more interested in Shao Yunduan, and waited for him to speak with him. Shao Yunduan was, however, silent all the time, and Zhao Guanghua could not help but initiate the conversation. Shao Yunduan nodded and replied briefly without saying anything more. Chapter 386, Jealous Zhao Guanghua felt even more bored. These two cousins were quite funny. One was overly passionate to flatter him, the other was completely silent. He never would have believed that Shao Yunduan was trying to ignore him. He was young Master Zhao. Feeling bored, Zhao Guanghua left the place after the meal. He was out for fun, and if he could not find it, there was no point in being here any longer. He could not find anything interesting here at all. Shao Liulang just could not keep him. Zhao Guanghua decided not to speak with Shao Liulang anymore, but he thought of Yang Xiaoni and intended to have some conversation with her in the future. Shao Yunduan let out a sigh of relief when that man was gone. He hoped that this man would never come back. Shao Liulang felt quite angry. Fifth cousin, you have behaved terribly. Brother Zhao doesn't come to us often, and I let you eat with him. Why did you show him a cold face? Shao Liulang believed that it was Shao Yunduan who gave Zhao Guanghua the cold shoulder, because of which he left so quickly. Shao Yunduan was not bothered to talk about this. He reminded him. I believe that you know why Zhao Guanghua came back home from the province's college. He is so frivolous and arrogant, not a very good person to befriend. You better stay away from him. Shao Liulang was not bothered to hear these words of his. That is just a rumor, why do you choose to believe it? I like Brother Zhao. He is friendly, warm and not at all arrogant. You must be jealous of me, right? That is your problem. You aren't the only person who can hang out with rich young masters. I can too. Shao Yunduan. Shao Yunduan did not like to teach anyone. He was not Shao Liulang's father and he already told him what he should hear. But now he was being accused of being jealous, then what was the point of continuing? There was no need to say anything more. Whatever you like. Shao Yunduan left from there directly. Seeing his retreating figure, Shao Liulang just did not know what to do. How dare he must be jealous of me. Yes. As he thought about this, Shao Liulang could not help but feel happy that he finally befriended a rich person. The plan of building a new house at the first section of the family was finally going to be realized. They wanted to build a house soon so they could move in before the new year. Eldest uncle suggested adding 2 new rooms next to what they had now. But the family believed that they should demolish the present structure and build a new one. Feeling alone, elder uncle got very angry. "We don't have the money." Xiao Xian smiled and said proudly, "Dad, money is not the issue." That made the eldest uncle feel even worse. "That is your money, not the family's money." Xiao Xian felt quite surprised. Her father-in-law was not greedy at all. She was offering to share her money with the family, and everyone else should be glad about it. In fact, other people might be worried that she would regret that. Xiao Xian felt a bit complicated at heart, not knowing what to say about him. "Dad, it is the same thing. What matters is to live a happy and cozy life, right? Also, my husband will take care when he becomes a promising man." 1 a.m. Just Gaelng Trusania 01 time roar you. Or, "My news Dana can give CNE money back to me later." The others nodded in agreement. Anyways, everyone except for him knew that it was Miss Fong who was putting in the money for the new house, not Xiao Xian. Chapter 387, speechless, but they decided not to say anything about it. After all, they wanted to live a peaceful life, rather than get bothered by unnecessary trouble that ruined their mood. Eldest uncle was speechless. "Whatever you like." Miss Fong struck the table resolutely. "Done." However, when the old house was demolished and a new plan was made, they needed to find a place to live temporarily. Well, they could have borrowed some empty place from the second and the third section of the family, but they would never let it happen. They did not want to be taken advantage of by their relatives. Apart from eldest uncle, no one from the first section of the family would be interested in sharing a place with the second and third section of the family. In the end, Miss Fong went to speak with the land officer and the clan tribe, so the whole family decided to have a temporary place in the empty house next to the ancestral hall. They could carry all the stuff and luggage there. A temporary hut could be built as the kitchen. Hearing that the first section wanted to build a new house, the whole village was shocked. The first section of the family has really flourished. They are building a new house. Yeah, where did they get that money from? But they have more and more people moving in, and they need to have new places for those upcoming grandchildren. It is more than building 2 extra rooms. They are building a completely new one. And they even bought a lot of land around the house. How big will that house be? That is not your concern. They have got a very rich daughter-in-law. 26 sets of dowry must have had a lot of gold and silver, enough for the new house. They were talking, full of envy and yearning. The second and third section of the family never expected that the first section of the family would start to build a new house. They could not help but come to their door, trying to tell them that the old house was still practical to live in, and only 2 extra rooms were enough, and that there was no need to demolish all and build a new one. Obviously, Miss Fong ignored their suggestion. When they learned that the first section of the family even bought 2 mu of land around the house in addition, they could not stand it anymore. Second uncle said, "Eldest brother, and eldest sister-in-law, how big will your house be? Why did you buy the land around the house? Do you have this much money?" Ms.Mi felt so sour. "If you can make money, please let us know about it too. We need a new house as well." Miss Fong smiled and ignored them. They were in no position to tell her family what they should do. Eldest uncle could not reach his hand into Xiao Xian's money, and he could not make any decision regarding house building. So when his brothers came and asked him about it, he had no choice but to say that it was because the old house was too small for them to live in, and that they were doing this for their grandchildren's sake. When the second and third section of the family asked about how they made money, he stopped himself from saying anything further. He did not dare to tell them that Xiao Xian was paying half of the amount and the other half was earned through selling valuable things. He did not want his brothers to blame him. But the second uncle found his silence even more suspicious. They believed that he must be hiding something, so they were not very happy when leaving the house. However, the house to be built by the first section of the family not only included more than 2 mu of land, but also covered the yard of the neighbor's house, a small vegetable garden and a small piece of open space around the neighbor's place, which came up to a total of more than 4 mu. Chapter 388, shocked that would make it 8 mu in total, including the new house to be built. Then, including the 12 mu of Xiao Xian's garden, there would be 20 mu in total. That was 20 mu of land in total. The first section of the family would become the most wealthy family in the whole village. Well, the reason why the first section of the family was able to build this big house was originally because of the second and third section of the family. When the second and third section of the family divided the old house of the Shao family, they added some small houses to it. In this way, the first section of the family did not have any place to live. Hence, eldest uncle found an empty place at the boundary of the village, very remote and leaving a lot of empty space for what they could have now. The whole village was really shocked and they all got so excited. Honestly, when the neighbors were moving, they looked so happy. So, the first section of the family must have given them a high price. Otherwise, who would be willing to sell the old house to outsiders and find an empty place outside the village to build new houses? However, the family was tight-lipped. They did not spill out a thing. They did utter a figure when forced, but no one believed that. Ms.Mi and Ms.Ma felt so annoyed and hurt. They believed that the first section of the family was bullying them. Everyone was talking about the first section of the family building a new house, and wondered how much money it would cost for them to build. Some irritable people instigated them again and again, asking Ms.Mi and Ms.Ma. Your houses are very small too. Why don't you think about building a new one too? Yeah, your eldest brother and eldest sister-in-law have been taking care of you all this time, and they should share some of what they have got, right? They are so rich, and they should help you. Both their faces turned red. Miss Fong was not going to help them with money, not at all. The most annoying person was Miss Xiao, who kept taking Miss Fang's side, because of which Miss Fong started to ignore them. But with little hope in their hearts, the second and third section of the family all rushed to the first section of the family. Eldest brother, Liulang is getting married in the new year and we don't have a new house for him. We need to build one room. What about sharing some of what you have left behind with us? Yeah, eldest brother, Liulang is your nephew, the child of the Shao family. Getting married is a huge thing and you must help us. Ms.Mi said this and glanced at Miss Fong, who seemed to hear nothing and kept working on the sole of her shoes. Miss Fong ignored them. They could say whatever they wanted. She was not interested in anything they had to suggest. Liulang did not know what to say, so he left. Shao Sanlang and Shao Yunduan, Xiao Xian and Ms. Su were all there. They wanted to watch the show, and also did not want Miss Fong to be bullied. Third uncle also joined in and tried to convince the eldest uncle. Third uncle thought that if his eldest brother helped the second section of the family, he would help the third section of the family as well. Yang Xiaoni was shocked. No wonder Yang Liang and Ms. Tian could not cause any trouble here. Her mother-in-law knew exactly how to deal with the situation. Sweat ran alongside eldest uncle's forehead as he staggered. Miss Fong, I don't think that building one more room would cost that much. What about, if it doesn't cost that much, they can build it themselves. Miss Fong sneered. Chapter 389. Shockingly thick-cheeked. You are old enough to have so many grandchildren and you still forced your old brother to pay you for your new house? How shameless you are. Second uncle and third uncle felt their cheeks burning. The words spoken by Miss Fong were true and heart-wrenching. The children of the first section of the family glanced at them, making them feel embarrassed. But that was nothing compared to their jealousy and resentment. So what? Their eldest brother had been taking care of them for so many years, and there was no point in leaving them behind when they were living a happy life. Eldest sister-in-law, you are wrong. Eldest brother is capable now and he should take care of us brothers. We were born by the same parents, and we should all live a happy life together, right? The children were all speechless. Sure, but they needed to create a happy life themselves. They were seeking advantage of them but still trying to make themselves sound as if they were being reasonable and righteous. Miss Fong smiled. What about you taking your eldest brother to your home, so he can work for you and all the money he earns can be yours? All you need to do is to find him a place to live and feed him 3 meals a day. How does that sound? Second uncle and the others from the family were all stuck with words. Eldest uncle got so embarrassed as well. What are you talking about? I am speaking the truth. Look, in this way, you can take care of your brothers so they can live a good life too. How does that sound? Second uncle and his people got furious. They did not want eldest uncle. They needed Xiao Xian's dowry. They stubbornly believed that the first section of the family was spending Xiao Xian's dowry rather than assume that the first section of the family was earning their own money. Before they could respond, Ms. Fong smiled at eldest uncle. Look, your brothers dislike you. They don't want you to be there. Eldest uncle, third uncle said, elder sister-in-law, stop joking around. We will be laughed at if that happens for real. You are afraid of being laughed at? How surprising. That was the end of the conversation. Shao Sanlang suddenly said, what about us building a house together? We have so much land, right? When the house is built, we can all live together and get to know each other better. Ms.Mi's eyes sparkled as she nodded. Yeah, that sounds great. Eldest brother, we are all a family. Yeah, we have a lot of space, right? The children of the first section were all shocked. These people were so shameless. So, they wanted to wait until the house was done before moving in with them? The second and third section of the family got so glad that they all started to discuss when to move in. Eldest uncle was stuck with words. But Miss Fong could not stand that anymore. She put down her sawls and pushed Ms.Mi out. Just get out of this place. What are you dreaming about? You move in when we build a new house. You are so shameless. Then she cursed at Shao Liulang. You can stop going to school. Your head is full of shit. All you can do is to take advantage of people but can come up with nothing new yourself. Just come back to be a farmer instead, you will have nothing to live on in the future. Ms.Mi got very annoyed as she screamed. My son is definitely going to become an officer soon, what are you talking about? Ms. Fong said coldly, oh, then you can wait until he becomes one, get out of here. Xiao Xian and Yang Xiaoni were keeping Ms. Fong company, as they watched the opponents getting thrashed. They could not do anything about the elders directly, but if the elders gave Ms. Fong a push, they were definitely going to teach them a lesson. Chapter 390, Tore off Ms. Sue hesitated but then backed her up as well. When Ms. Fong drove them out, Ms.Mi said angrily, you angry bitch, so unbelievable. Ms. Fong smiled. If I am so unbelievable, you can stop talking with us and not come to my home. Third uncle. Eldest brother, why didn't you talk? Eldest uncle felt dizzy, his head was buzzing. He felt rather messed up. He was very sad about how such a family could become like this. He really wanted the whole family to live in harmony, but it never was in harmony. Ms. Fong argued with him fiercely, and the whole family disliked him. Now even his brothers disliked him. He had never been treated well. Shao Liulang was very angry by what Ms. Fong said as well. Or that was because he had been shamed by Ms. Fong. He could lie to himself or others, people like Ms.Mi and third uncle who trusted him blindly. He could even be stuck inside his fantasy. Yet he knew pretty well what he was like at the college. During the examination, he couldn't answer any of those topics, and he just wished that he could have some luck to pass the examination. He waited 1 year after another, hoping that he could answer some of the topics on paper next year. But Miss Fong tore off the fantasy ruthlessly and he felt seen through. You should not look down upon me. Fifth cousin is nothing more than a cultivated talent, and you never know what is going to happen in the future. Miss Fong replied. All right then, you can make a fortune and be an officer if you want, don't worry about what we are doing in our family. Shao Liulang. After driving them out, Miss Fong said to her children, have you spoken with the workers? When do we start? Shao Yunduan responded quickly. We will tear down the house the day after tomorrow. Good. Miss Fong smiled. Just hurry up and remove what we need to remove. We are not living here anymore. She glanced at this familiar-looking yard and house, sighing emotionally. I have lived here for so long and I don't feel like leaving. Xiao Xian smiled. Mom, when we move into the new house, you will definitely love it. We are going to use the best materials and the house should be intact even in a dozen years. Miss Fong smiled. That is great. They spent the next 2 days moving stuff to the ancestral hall, and it was very messy at home. They needed to hurry up with moving, since the demolition started the day after tomorrow. They all went down to doing their own tasks. Miss Fong glanced at eldest uncle. Don't blame me for pushing them. They are just so annoying. Must we feed them all? Liulang is so stupid as to suggest that idea. He has read nothing in all these years. Eldest uncle was speechless. He was generous towards his brothers, but he could not counter his wife about what he had just heard. But Liulang is getting married, so what? Miss Fong sneered. He has his own parents. We never turned to them for help when our sons got married. Eldest uncle, soon, the process of tearing down the house, and building the foundation of the new house of the first section of the family started. They did not lack any money, so they started to hire people and buy material quickly. All was going forward smoothly. That was a huge land and the whole family had already made an elaborate plan. There was a front yard, main house and backyard. The main house was a big place with 5 bays and 2 entrances. It was 2 stories high. The upper floor was going to be used to stack things, and store grain and other harvested crops. Chapter 391. Work started. The east and west wing rooms were all built to be spacious, with a 3-bay pattern. Behind the 2 wing rooms, there were 2 small courtyards. Shao Yunduan and Shao Xian would live there. Shao Yunduan needed to study, so he chose a quieter place. Shao Dalong, Shao Sanlang and Shao Xiaoqi had rooms of their own, whilst Shao Taotao and Ms. Fong shared the main room. According to the blueprint given by the first section of the family, the construction team was in full swing on the day of construction, and more than half of the villagers came to watch the excitement. But no one from the second or the third section of the family showed up. Obviously, they were still very annoyed. Ms. Fong did not care. She pretended as if her mood was not at all affected. They did not even care what the eldest uncle was thinking at the moment. Xiao Xian and her team went into the mountains again, when everyone was so busy. Xiao Xian was thinking about the golden sprouts and lavender tea leaves. She had many tea seeds at home last time, but they were not enough. Many seeds were not mature enough and they needed to revisit that place. They went into the mountains for 5 days in a row. On the first day, they picked tea seeds, and then they started to seek and pick the creeping figs as well as mushrooms. The courtyard they were going to live in henceforth was large enough to sun-dry those things. When seeds were taken from the creeping figs, they were sun-dried in the sun and were put in the large bamboo pan. In the meanwhile, they dug more than 20 to 25 kilograms of lilies and dates. There were still many persimmons and wild chestnuts in the mountains, but they had not yet reached the ripe season, and they had to wait for a while before they turned delicious. Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan worked for a few days and soon after, visited the Zhang village again. The project of opening the land at the Zhang village was almost done. The couple was very satisfied by the effect. This was for planting tea trees, not crops. As long as the large and small tree stumps were dug up, it would not matter if the weeds were not cleared. They needed to make a lot of effort in removing the weeds in the first 2 days. Then it will slowly fall in place. By the time the house was built, the opening of the land project would almost come to an end. At that time, they could start to build the side yards. Building a house was quick. It was much faster and more convenient to lay the foundation and start laying bricks than earth ramming. Building a house would take about 4 days. Ms. Fong saw with her own eyes that a tall, magnificent, and spacious main house was built. She felt extremely happy. The main room was larger, and when that was done, the other rooms would be constructed even faster. After all the rooms were done, they could build the entire large yard, then the small yards would be divided, along with the utility rooms. They would build sheds for raising chickens and ducks, lay floor tiles, repair drinking pools. In this way, they would be able to finish the work within 1 month or so. Then they would install doors and windows and have the requisite furniture made. They were definitely going to move in before the new year. The other sections of the family were so jealous and furious. After they were driven out the other day, they were secretly paying attention to how fast the new house was built. Ms.Mi felt very sour inside her heart, seeing the house getting ready little by little. She turned to look at second uncle. We can build a new house too. Liulang needs some space to get married. We need it to look good for him. Second uncle felt quite annoyed too, as he said, yes, we will build one on our empty space, not with their help. We are going to get a new house too. True. Only then did Ms.Mi feel slightly better. She was getting a new house too. Chapter 392, Suspicion. The second section of the family also started to hire people to build the house. Originally, they were thinking of borrowing some materials such as bricks, stones, and gravel from the first section of the family, but Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian had long been on guard against them. The purchase of these things was contracted to the foreman who built the house, and the foreman was responsible for the purchase. All Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian did was to examine the quality and sign, confirming the source of the material on each paper. The foreman would gain some profits from it too. Most people in this era were quite practical. They took money and worked hard. Also, they barely had a chance to fabricate anything. For example, the number of black bricks bought could not be fabricated. They used solid woods, not composite lumber. With the foreman who was in charge, the first section of the family saved themselves a lot of trouble. What they needed was to get everything examined well but not get worried about anything else. But Ms.Mi and second uncle did not know about this. They tried to carry the black bricks away and said resolutely, "This is my eldest brother's home, and I can borrow a few as his brother. I can repay them later. You are an outsider and this matter has nothing to do with you, you are just a laborer. What are you stopping me for?" But the foreman lectured them and explained the details with a cold face, driving them away. He had bought everything with his money, and if Ms.Mi carried them away, he would need to make the compensation himself. They had not expected that the first section of the family had done the preparation in this way, thus getting even more annoyed. The first section of the family has spent so much money in hiring people, how much is it? They haven't lent us anything, but they can waste the money on this. Yuezheng was most furious. The second section of the family did not offer to build a new house for her when she got married. But now Liulang was getting married and he would get a new house. She was not worse than anyone else as a daughter-in-law, why was she so badly treated? She did not dare to complain about it in front of Ms.Mi but cried badly in front of Shao Erlang behind their backs. Shao Erlang had not felt that anything was wrong with it because he felt happy that his family was getting a new house. But hearing her tearful complaints, he could not help but feel annoyed and displeased. He could not help but mention this to second uncle that he needed one more room too because his children were growing up and they would have no place to live in later on. Second uncle and Ms.Mi, who were still annoyed by not being able to get anything from the first section of the family, lectured Shao Erlang on hearing what he said. One room was already so difficult for them, how could they afford two? They would talk about building new ones in the future. Ms.Mi was sure that it was Yuezheng who would have mentioned it. So she lectured her and gave her a hard time for a few days in a row. Yuezheng felt so upset that she cribbed about Ms.Mi and second uncle as well as the first section of the family. But for the stingy first section of the family, nothing like this would have happened. On the other hand, the first section of the family had no idea what was going on with the second section of the family. Despite shifting to a new room, Shao Yunduan was still reading, memorizing books most of the time, whilst Xiao Xian took a break and went into the mountains again. Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni kept her company on some occasions. Xiao Xian and her team did not go into the deep section of mountains every time. There were many mushrooms in the forests as well. They could see the creeping figs every now and then, and she was able to find them easily. There were many wild fruits in the mountains too, ripe with a sweet and sour taste. There were a lot of fun things in the mountains. Chapter 393, Updated Space. Xiao Xian was thinking that Yuezheng Shao might send his men to fetch the last batch of lip balms, and he sure did. It was Chu Shan who came over. Chu Shan greeted her and gave her a present, as well as a letter written by Yuezheng Shao. What surprised Xiao Xian was that the present Yuezheng Shao sent for her was a pot with 5 ginseng. Yuezheng Shao had just written to his elder brother who was called Yuezheng, who believed that the whole thing was very troublesome. But his younger brother rarely asked him for anything, so he could not help but feel like helping him, so he did that in the end. Ginsengs without being processed would get rotten after a long while. So, Yuezheng made a lot of efforts after getting 5 of them, put them in 2 pots and finally transplanted them into 1 pot. When the pot arrived, the ginseng was dying. Yuezheng Shao was worried that it would be gone within a few days, so he asked Chu Shan to have it delivered to Qiao Xian as soon as possible. Qiao Xian thanked him sincerely and carried the pot into the garden with Shao Taotao. They could not just disappear in her space. They needed to be planted in the yard. After a while, she could tell others in a seemingly casual way that the 5 pieces of ginseng were dead or gone, then her work would be done. It was her stuff and Ms. Fong would not say anything about it, let alone others. She was the only one who had the key to the garden, and she could easily conceal her secret if she wanted to. She drove away Taotao and put the 5 ginseng into her space. The ginseng, which were on the verge of dying, started turning better when moved to space. Qiao Xian felt that with her heart. When the 5 ginseng were planted in the soil, the space became even more lively and vital. It was autumn, and everything naturally withered. Many plants had stopped growing, and some had become bare. Qiao Xian's superpower was affected by the seasons, and it was not as active as in spring and summer. But the space had not been so lively for a long while. She felt much more energetic when the ginseng were in the soil. Qiao Xian came out when she felt better, after feeling what was inside her head. She believed that if she planted some more precious plants in her space, the space would turn tremendously different. That was to say, the accumulation of quantitative changes to a certain extent would lead to qualitative changes. That made Xiao Xian very excited. She also kept telling herself not to get overly worried about it. The environment she lived in was still too remote and closed, and precious and rare plants were not easy to come by. Sometimes it was all about chances. Yuezheng Shao was quite reliable and he could be entrusted to find something good. Also, they were building a new house and she was going to need some more plants. She was definitely going to ask Yuezheng Shao to find those new, precious plants for her. She only needed the rare varieties, such as orchids like ghost orchids, crane tops, and lotus petals, peonies such as Yale Huangwizi, plum blossoms such as green plums, dead branch plums, camellias such as 18 bachelors, Hentiango, Chidan, etc. She wanted to get them with the thought that if the space accepted other flowers and trees, as long as they were rare enough, the space would accept them all. She was thinking about how to get these rare plants. Chapter 394. Into province. These precious flowers and trees could only be obtained by famous and wealthy families. There were very few transactions of these kinds in the flower and tree market. After all, ordinary people could not afford these things. Only rich and powerful families could spend a lot of money to buy them and carefully cultivate them. Money was not the initial condition. It was just a method to get through. The atmosphere seemed a bit strange as she went home. Qiao Xian turned to look at Shao Yunduan. Shao Yunduan smiled. I was just about to fetch you. Brother Yuezheng has invited us to have a gathering of literature in the province after 3 days. Do you want to join us? Qiao Xian's eyes sparkled, of course. She could hopefully find precious flowers, shrubs, and trees there. She would be too stupid to refuse the invitation. Of course. Qiao Xian nodded as she smiled. Young Master Yuezheng mentioned that the gathering should be of great importance. You should not miss it. Shao Yunduan nodded. That is exactly what I think. Miss Fong and the others in the family nodded in agreement. Qiao Xian was going to keep him company. Chu Shan smiled. Then, please get your luggage ready tonight, so we can leave tomorrow morning. Shao Yunduan nodded happily. This way, Chu Shan and the coachman spent their first night at the first section of the family. They slept on the floor of Shao Zioki's room. Miss Fang asked Shao Xiaoqi and Tao Tao to follow them to the province since there was nothing much going on in the family. Shao Yunduan was hesitant about this. Living as a large family next to the ancestral hall was not as convenient as living at home. There was still farm work to do every day, and the house was being built. Somebody had to go see it a few times. If half of the family was gone, they were running out of helping hands in the family. What if the other sections of the family caused trouble at the time? He was worried that his mother would run into a problem when he and Xiao Xian were absent. Miss Fang seemed to have seen through his concern, and she smiled. Don't worry, just do what you need to do. I am not bullied easily, and I have Sanlang and Ms. Yang with me here. Dalong was too honest to fight back, especially when Miss Fang and eldest uncle were in an argument. But if Miss Fang was bullied, he would definitely step forward. Miss Su was not a good helper, but if she forced her to help her as a mother-in-law, she would not refuse to do so. Xiao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni were with her and they always took her side. So, even if Xiao Yunduan and the others were away for a while, it would be fine. Xiao Yunduan agreed and nodded at the proposal. Early the next day, Qiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, Qi and Tao Tao left with Chu Shan and the coachman. After breakfast, Miss Su, Yang Xiaoni were doing housework, whilst Miss Fang was taking care of her grandchildren as Xiao Dalong and his brother went to check around the new house before heading to the mountains for wood chopping. It was getting cold soon and they needed to store as much wood as possible, enough for the winter and the spring. Wood was not easily obtained when it rained too much in spring. Miss Fang looked and saw Xiao Liulang in front of him. Oh. What are you doing here? Miss Fang sounded calm but she looked very cold. This man had the audacity to suggest moving the whole family together after their new house was built. Miss Fang looked down at him to an extreme degree. Chapter 395, Regretful. Xiao Liulang did not sense her displeasure though. He had always thought highly of himself, and he said with a smile, "Eldest aunt." He asked in a pretentiously casual way. "You had guests last night, right? They seem to be young Master Yu's servants, right? Have they left already?" Many people had seen Chu Shan coming to the village the day before, and Xiao Liulang saw that too. But he lost interest in the visit, since Chu Shan was here alone. So he did not come to them the day before. But he got quite curious as he came to them in the morning. Unfortunately, the wagon was gone, so was the man. Miss Fang let out a cry of surprise. Xiao Liulang smiled. "I need to talk with my cousin." Miss Fang stopped him. "Your cousin has left with Chu Shan." "What?" Xiao Liulang's face changed. So Chu Shan was here to take him away as a guest to their place? Miss Fang looked at him with confusion, wondering what made him so excited at the moment. She nodded. "Yeah." Xiao Liulang suddenly felt regretful. "But I had a nice chat with young Master Yu last time as well. Why didn't my cousin ask me to join them? He should have come to them the night before and asked about the visit. He had just missed the great opportunity." Miss Fang was speechless. Young Master Yuezheng and young Master Xia were getting on well with her son, not with Liulang. She said, "But Chu Shan didn't say that young Master Yu invited you." Xiao Liulang got stuck with words, and turned pale. "But we are cousins and we are together, right?" Miss Fang found it hard to counter him about this, so she let out a small, "okay," and said nothing more. Xiao Liulang had no idea what else to say. What could he do since the wagon was long gone? He could try to chase the wagon. But he would not be able to catch up at all. He wanted to lecture eldest aunt but he did not dare to. Xiao Liulang thought of an idea and said, "Where does young Master Yu live?" Miss Fang understood clearly what he wanted to do, and replied with a smile. "One have no idea." Xiao Liulang. Xiao Liulang felt that Miss Fang was lying, but he could not prove that. "You really have no idea?" "No." Xiao Liulang got so annoyed as he said, "Can you swear on that?" Miss Fang threw a look at him. "What is wrong with you? I would be mental to swear on this. Just leave me alone." Honestly, you can't do any labor work and just read and write. So, you should just stay in the room and read on your own. What will you do if you don't pass any examinations? That was so heartbreaking for him to hear. Shao Liulang. He felt even more annoyed. Shao Liulang felt regretful as he came back home in distress. Ms.Mi asked him about it in concern. Shao Liulang did not want to mention it, but he could not help and complained to Ms.Mi. Ms.Mi did not feel any sympathy but snapped angrily. They are just showing off. They have rich friends, but so do you. Just ignore them. If you feel bored, go and visit young Master Zhao again. Shao Liulang was startled. In fact, he understood clearly that his relationship with Zhao Guanghua was totally different from Shao Yunduan's relationship with those two young masters. But he did not want to admit that. Chapter 396, Favored by Beauty. That was why he tried hard to suck up to the two young masters. He somehow believed that if the two young masters befriended him, he would have a lot of wonderful things coming to him in the future. Zhao Guanghua was different from them. But he could not just say that out loud. His mother would not understand. Bothered and flustered, Shao Liulang could not stay at home and went to the Zhao family for real. Zhao Guanghua was feeling very bored at home. When he heard that Shao Liulang had come over, he laughed and ordered him to come in. Now he had someone whom he could tease for fun. However, Shao Liulang ran into Zhao Ming when he was at Zhao Guanghua's place. Shao Liulang was shocked by her looks. Zhao Ming saw him as well. She felt flattered to have fascinated a dumb man like him. She smiled at him purposefully and left. Zhao Ming's smile made Shao Liulang's head buzz. He was totally distracted, and after a few moments, he became really happy. The elder miss of the Zhao family smiled at him. Did she fall for him? That must be it. Shao Liulang couldn't stand the excitement arising inside his head. He almost burst out in laughter. Since Zhao Guanghua did not witness what happened, he wondered what was wrong with this man. Qiao Xian and Shao Yunduan, as well as their family, arrived in the province before the day turned dark. It was an early winter day, and they eventually managed to go through the gate before it closed. Chu Shan drove them to the hotel where they had lived last time. Yuezheng Shao had already booked the room for them. They thanked Chu Shan and checked in. It was a quiet night. Early the next morning, Yuezheng Shao and Xie Jingrong came to visit them together. They had a chat in a very bustling, lively atmosphere. Yuezheng Shao and Xie Jingrong thanked them for the presents which they brought along. Those included some sun-dried mushrooms and creeping figs. They did not have any bergamots anymore since Yuezheng Shao already took everything away last time he was at their place. All kinds of dried mushrooms were fine, and jelly was still a new product. As expected, Yuezheng Shao liked it very much. Last time when he brought some fresh ones back, Yuezheng Shao specially gave them to his mother and sister-in-law. Xie Jingrong also ordered someone to make jelly, added various chopped nuts or fresh fruits, and a little crushed ice. The ladies in the family loved it, asking him when he would be able to bring some more back. Qiao Xian and Shao Yunduan had a few with them this time. The gathering took place after 2 days and it would last for 3 days in a row. Xie Jingrong told Shao Yunduan about some important figures as well as the whole process and the regulations. Yuezheng Shao was not interested in what was happening between scholars, so he started to talk about lipsticks and dessert stores with Qiao Xian instead. They had no flowers for lipsticks right now, so Yuezheng Shao decided to release the lipsticks which they had in stock regularly so they could stretch it out until the new ones arrived. Qiao Xian gave him 500 lip balms to fill the shortage of lipsticks. Yuezheng Shao planned to customize some crystal, jade, gold, and silver lipstick tubes inlaid with gemstones. Rare things were more expensive, and he would try to sell them at high prices. He wondered if Qiao Xian would agree to that. Qiao Xian was shocked. The Yuezheng family was indeed a wealthy business family with not only a huge background, but also ideas and abilities. Some very wealthy ladies would expect their things to stand out from the ordinary ones. Chapter 397, Limited version. The crystal and jade lipstick tubes would not cost a lot more than the current cost, but the price could definitely increase by more than 100 times. Also, they did not need to have many tubes like this, more than a dozen sets would be enough. That sounds great. In this way we can make more money and satisfy what the noble ladies and madams like. That is like killing two birds with one stone. Qiao Xian nodded in agreement. Yuezheng Shao struck his thigh and smiled. That is true. Exactly what I think. Qiao Xian thought for a while and said, how about this? Next year there will be a set of 12 beauties limited edition lipsticks. The 12 beauties each correspond to a kind of flower for 12 months. The lipstick tubes will represent spring, summer, autumn and winter, which will be made of emerald, carnelian, gold, and crystal respectively. The tube will be carved with patterns of beauties and flowers, inlaid with various pearls and gemstones. 3 pieces will be released in one season, and the whole set can be collected in 1 year. 3 packs can be sold at one go, and more effort should be made on the packaging. We can draw patterns and ask famous artists to sell them. You must make sure that it is exquisitely made. As for the price, I'm not an expert on it, so it's fine for you to decide. Yuezheng Shao's eyes sparkled when he heard the idea. He patted the table in delight. That is a great thought. We are definitely going to do this. Let's release a set of 12 beauties, limited edition first, then you'll find someone to figure out a more elaborate idea later. After that, we can launch some other series. Think about it slowly. This way we're going to earn a lot of money. At that time, after deducting the cost, we will share the profit equally. Yuezheng Shao already had an idea about the pricing. He decided to sell the lipsticks with cost included at more than 3,000 liang for one lipstick. Since it was a limited version, he would at most produce 10 sets so they could look rare. He was sure that they would be very well received. They did not need to worry about not being able to sell them. 10 sets for the 12 beauty series with 12 lipsticks for one set would earn them so much. The two money lovers started to discuss the plan in detail. They did not stop until it was time for lunch. Yuezheng had already booked the restaurant, and they all headed there. Inside the elegant room, Shao Yunduan was shocked hearing what Yuezheng Shao said about the limited version of lipsticks. Yuezheng spoke highly of the idea when he heard about it. 12 beauties and 12 famous flowers would be drawn by famous artists, and the outer tubes would be made by famous craftsmen. The gold, jade, and crystals corresponded to the 4 seasons. They were luxurious and elegant enough, and will work perfectly as limited versions. Rare things were always more expensive, and they would definitely be sold. A few thousand liang was nothing in rich people's eyes. After all, real rich people had so much money to spend that it simply could not finish. Hearing that it was Qiao Xian's idea, Yuezheng could not help but look at this girl with admiration. The county magistrate was totally blind to alienate and dislike this daughter of his. If he had treated her well and taken her as an advisor, he would have been promoted and made a fortune, and fame long ago instead of trying to stick up to powerful and rich people in this humiliating way. Shao Yunduan was a learned man, but he just could not believe that someone would spend this much money upon buying one lipstick like that. It sounded ridiculous. But Shao Yunduan could not help but feel emotional when he saw how confident Yuezheng and Yuezheng Shao were when they talked about selling these lipsticks. He simply could not understand what was up with rich people. Chapter 398, Dessert Store. Eating mutton in winter was the most warming and nourishing feeling. Today's several big dishes were all mutton, including roasted leg of lamb, braised lamb chops, braised mutton with radish, steamed mutton with powder, and mutton in a dry pot. They were all served straight out of the pot. The chefs at the restaurants were pretty good at cooking. Yuezheng Shao could not help but talk about the dessert stores during lunchtime. Qiao Xian told him that they already bought the land for opening and they could plant the creeping figs in spring and harvest them in autumn. There were many creeping figs this year, and the sun-dried ones should weigh over 50 kilograms. But those were not enough to open a dessert store. They needed to have at least 3 or 5 stores in the province so that they could acquire the market as soon as possible and earn money. One store would earn too little profit. They could not just sell jelly and needed to offer something more as well. This ice powder jelly could not be copied by others. Other things such as sugar taro seedlings, mung bean paste, lily lotus seed and almond soup, bean curd and bean brain, were easy to learn as long as others saw them. So, they needed to take over the market right at the beginning, so all the tastes could be showcased well, and could stand firmly and for a long duration. They did not need to open the store as of this moment, but they could start the preparations until all was set and ready to go. Xiao Xian also mentioned raising cows, and she wondered if the cows could be bred because milk could lead to making many other interesting dishes as well. Taking advantage of the trend, she also mentioned sago, cassava, and papaya available in the south. If they could find those, the whole thing would get much better. Yuezheng, Shao and Xie were both shocked. This was far more than jelly. They were even thinking about raising cows. What was sago rice? Cassava? They never heard about these things. They had heard of papaya, but never saw it before. Yuezheng Shao gave Xiao Xian an admiring look as he sighed. You have such vast knowledge. Everything sounds so good. Draw me some pictures, so I can try this with my elder brother. As long as we have them on this land, we will definitely find them. His elder brother had befriended many wandering people as a businessman. Although they were not very close friends, they could offer some help to find the stuff they needed. Xiao Xian smiled. Yes, I also read some sayings in a book about foreign countries. The sago and cassava should come from the west, and most of them have to go to the south to find them. Yuezheng Shao nodded. I will speak with my brother. He smiled as he looked at Xie. We do have cows. Their family happened to have a small ranch, and they raised some cows there. Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan turned to Xie. Xie smiled. My grandfather and grandmother like milk, so the family specially raised a few cows, which were easy to handle. Soon, I will take over this pasture and expand it to raise a few more cows. 20 or 30 should be enough. Xiao Xian didn't know if that was enough, but how many cows could be raised on a ranch needed to be calculated by experience or in a scientific way, not as per their wish. Xiao Xian smiled and nodded. 20 and 30 should be enough, let's see how the store business goes. Yuezheng Shao smiled happily. The business should be good. They talked for a few minutes before leaving. It was quite late in the day. Chapter 399, Yuezheng Ting again. It was slightly cold in the province, and both Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan did not have many clothes with them. So, they went to buy a few more warm clothes on the way, which Qi and Tao Tao could bring back to the hotel, whilst they went to a few bookstores and returned a little later. They had a quick dinner at the hotel and stayed there until the next day. Shao Yunduan was getting ready to attend the gathering these days, and was reading a few poetry collections as part of the preparations. He was definitely going to be asked to make some poems at the gathering, though that was not the theme of the gathering this year. Xiao Xian, Qi, and Tao Tao chose to go out and have a tour around. Xiao Xian was still thinking about precious plants, but she had not told Yuezheng Shao about this idea yet. She decided to try her own luck first. She also wanted to buy a few things for home as well. Shao Yunduan could not keep her company, so he stressed to Shao Xiaoqi that he should take good care of his sister-in-law and sister. After the gathering, I will go out with you to far-off places. When you are by yourself, you should only visit bustling localities, not those isolated areas, alright? We don't speak the same dialect as people here, and we are outsiders who might be bullied. Especially those outsiders who did not have any servants with them. Shao Xiaoqi and Tao Tao turned serious and nodded in agreement. Xiao Xian's heart also skipped a beat. They were not living in the modern society with high legal security, and they should definitely be careful out there. The three of them rented the wagon recommended by the manager of the hotel, and instructed the coachman to take them to many popular places. They even paid extra for the security. They visited some street stands and bought a few things. The three of them happened to be around Yanxi restaurant around lunchtime, which was a very famous restaurant for its southern dishes, especially Suzhou cuisine. They had wanted to have a taste at this place last time, but they failed to eat there due to the tight schedule. They happened to be around here at lunchtime, probably because it was destiny that took them here. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao got off the wagon and smiled at Qi. You can go and fetch your brother, while we will go in and place the order. Shao Xiaoqi agreed and urged the coachman to hurry away. Yanxi restaurant was one of the biggest restaurants in the province, so Xiao Xian and Tao Tao should be safe here. Yanxi restaurant was very popular, and when Xiao Xian and Xiao Tao Tao went to the elegant room, there was only one room left. She booked without hesitation, as she said to Tao Tao, "We are lucky enough to have found one at this hour." Xiao Tao Tao chuckled and nodded. Yeah. At this moment, a group of people walked in. It included 4 beautiful and young ladies accompanied by a few maids. They needed an elegant room. The manager was quite embarrassed as he said with a smile, "Sorry, the last elegant room has been booked by a lady a while ago. Maybe you can come back later and we will save one for you." The lady who asked for the elegant room turned to Xiao Xian with a smile. "Lady, you only have 2 people but we have so many, can you spare the elegant room for us? I can compensate you with 1 liang." Xiao Xian, this lady looked very arrogant. She seemed quite friendly but as a matter of fact, she was rude to her face. Most importantly, this lady did not recognize her, but Xiao Xian did. Even Tao Tao exchanged a surprised look with Xiao Xian. She had recognized her too. It was Yuezheng Ting, Yuezheng Shao's cousin. Xiao Xian did not care if she recognized herself. They were just irrelevant people in her eyes, and it was not so strange that she did not recognize her. Chapter 400, Rejection. Xiao Xian did not mention that they had met, nor did she say that she knew her cousin Yuezheng Shao well. "I am sorry, miss, but we are a group of more than 2 people. Also, we arrived here first to book the room. We live outside the province and can barely visit here. So, we really want to eat at Yanxi restaurant. But miss, you seem to be a local, what about coming here next time?" Yuezheng Ting was not a mild-tempered person, but she was in public and had her friends with her. Thus she had to act as if she were very generous and elegant. She thought that she had been kind enough to offer compensation, but this lady turned her down bluntly. Yuezheng Ting could not embarrass herself in front of others, and said with a good smile, "Lady, we also want to eat the good dishes here today. How about I offer you 3 liang? You can eat a sumptuous meal at some other place with these 3 liang, no?" Yuezheng Ting felt so distressed. 3 liang was already a huge amount, enough for her to try different sun-dried fruits. Xiao Xian really looked down at her. If she wanted to drive her away with money, at least 10 to 20 liang should have been the starting price. Yanxi restaurant's elegant rooms were very expensive to book. In that light, 1 or 3 liang were so stingy as a compensation. If she was so miserly, then she did not have to put on the show. It was so embarrassing. Had Yuezheng Ting and Yuezheng Shao been in a good relationship, Xiao Xian would have definitely helped. But Yuezheng Shao and Yuezheng Ting were not in a harmonious relationship, and Xiao Xian would not just let this opportunity go. "Sorry, Mississippi. Can you please try this offer with some other guests?" Yuezheng Ting got so furious, which is why her maid Jiang went forward and said, "Hey, don't be so greedy. Our miss already offers you a generous offer, what more do you want?" Xiao Xian glanced at her and smiled with politeness. "I just want to have a quiet lunch." "You." A girl in a rosy and patterned coat chuckled as she squinted at Yuezheng Ting. "Ting, you are really not generous enough. 1 or 3 liang is too little to offer, you are so rich that you can offer more." The Yuezheng family were rich enough to offer more, but she must be doing it on purpose because she did not want to treat them with a true heart. Yuezheng Ting glared at the maid and then at Xiao Xian. She spoke in a very annoyed voice with her teeth clenched. "I will give you 10 liang, and you can choose another dining place." Xiao Xian said to the manager, "Mr. Manager, I am going upstairs. When my husband and my brother-in-law arrive, please direct them to our elegant room." Having said that, Xiao Xian left with Xiao Tao Tao. Yuezheng Ting's face flushed. She was both embarrassed and angry. Another lady wearing a lavender dress frowned, as she said lightly, "I just thought of something. I am off, let's set another day for lunch. Before Yuezheng Ting could say anything, the girl left and the other girls followed up soon after. Yuezheng Ting turned pale and felt humiliated. The girl in lavender dress was Xia Ruifang, the lineal daughter of the third section of the family of the Xia family. Yuezheng Ting ran into Xia Ruifang and her cousin Hejiqing, and was trying to suck up to them. They were just talking about the dishes of Yanxi restaurant, so she vividly offered to take them to this restaurant for the exaggeratedly praised dishes. Chapter 401, Angry. The Xia family was a wealthy family with very strict rules for their children. They did not lack drinks or clothes, but they barely had any pocket money. There were special funds for buying clothes, jewelry, rouge and gouache, and the elders would give rewards during the New Year's Day or occasionally at other times, but if they wanted to go out and eat, they might not have too much money in hand. Especially when it comes to a place like Yanxi restaurant. Southern dishes were always exquisitely made and an ordinary banquet would cost 20 liang at least. Upper-class table would cost more than 100 liang. If liquor and other drinks were added, the price could be much higher. Xia Ruifang and Hejiqing had not been here before, so they were quite attracted to take up the offer. Yuezheng Ting became happy about that. Although it might cost her some money, if she could befriend the lineal daughter of the Xia family, it would be worth the while. Therefore, even if she ran into Wen Xingyuan from the Wen family, the girl in the rose dress, whom she did not like much, Yuezheng Ting did not turn her down. All Xia Ruifang needed to remember was who paid for the meal. However, there were no available elegant rooms left at Yanxi restaurant, which was beyond her expectation. What irritated her was that the last elegant room was taken from her just one step ahead of time, and this woman who took the room did not want to accept compensation for giving up the room. How dare she? She had been filled with hope before she came here, but now everyone was disappointed. She could imagine what Xia Ruifang would think of her. She would have a terrible impression about her. Wen Xingyuan, that bitch, also left with Xia Ruifang, and she was surely going to bad-mouth her behind her back. Hejiqing chuckled and said to Yuezheng Ting in a gentle voice, I seem to have seen two women eating with your third cousin the other day. There were two other men with them that day, probably her husband and brother-in-law. It seems that they should be in a good relationship with your family. How could they fail to recognize you as the second miss of the Yuezheng family? Hejiqing smiled and said gently, or maybe I saw it wrong. If you check with her about it, don't tell her that it came from me. She smiled and then turned around, leaving. Yuezheng Ting's face changed, while she stood there with eyes wide open. She suddenly thought of something as she said to Jiang with clenched teeth, you remember the third cousin and young Master Xia eating at the restaurant? There was a family with 4 people, right? Is it them? Jiang was startled and then showed an enlightened look. You are right, miss, it was them. I remember it now. Good. Yuezheng Ting got even more furious, and sneered. They must have recognized me and were playing with me. I am going to teach them a lesson. Yuezheng Ting rushed upstairs in fury. Xiao Xian and Shao Taotao had just sat down when Yuezheng Ting rushed in as she pushed the door open. She pointed at Xiao Xian furiously. My third cousin treats you as friends, but you dare trick me like this. I will tell him so he can teach you a lesson. Yuezheng Ting stopped pretending to be an elegant lady when no one was watching. But she had not thought of Xiao Xian and Tao Tao's names, so the impact of her accusation was largely reduced. Chapter 402, Payment. Xiao Xian raised her eyebrows. Sorry, Lady Yuezheng, but I booked the elegant room first, and I don't want to give it away to you. What is the problem? She gave Yanxi restaurant a thumb up for not sucking up to the rich. No wonder the restaurant was so popular. Yuezheng Ting sneered. Good, then tell me your name, so I will tell my third cousin about it. From today onwards, you will never have the chance to speak with him or get anything beneficial from our family. The Yuezheng family were very famous in the province, and Yuezheng Ting assumed that Xiao Xian was trying to suck up to the Yuezheng family. A small portion of money from them would feed this poor family well for the rest of their lives. Startled, Tao Tao was so confused, not knowing how to react. What was wrong with this lady from the Yuezheng family? How could she be so strange? Young Master Yuezheng was in a business relationship with her brother and sister-in-law, and young Master Yuezheng kept telling them that he was so lucky to meet them. Since when did her brother and sister-in-law try to suck up to the Yuezheng family? Where did Lady Yuezheng hear about this rumor? Tao Tao did not like to be misjudged. She could not help but speak up. Sorry Lady Yuezheng, but you have misunderstood us. We have never taken anything good from your family, and my brother and sister-in-law's relationship with young Master Yuezheng is totally fair and straight. How dare you say fair and straight? Yuezheng Ting sneered. You want to tell me your names? Xiao Xian pinched Tao Tao's wrist, and looked at Yuezheng Ting. I don't think that is necessary. How about asking your third cousin yourself, if you want to know our names? You. Yuezheng Ting got so annoyed that she said, Okay, you are very bold. Let's wait and see what you have to pay for your rudeness. Yuezheng Ting glared at Xiao Xian and left in a fury. Tao Tao got a little anxious, asking. Fifth sister-in-law, is this okay? Lady Yuezheng is young Master Yuezheng's cousin, after all. Xiao Xian was amused. Don't worry, think about our own cousins. If they irritate our friends, and get driven away by our friends, will you be mad at our friends? Of course not. Shao Tao Tao burst out and felt a little embarrassed. Xiao Xian smiled. Not so worried anymore? Shao Tao Tao nodded and said involuntarily, Why are cousins always so annoying? Xiao Xian laughed. That's a good question. Soon the waiters came in and the two of them started to order. Xiao Xian ordered classic southern dishes such as squirrel mandarin fish, stewed meatballs, braised eels, crystal meat, braised pork in Baihua wine, pingxiao tofu, and boiled dried shredded rice. She hadn't tasted authentic Jiangnan cuisine since she came here, and wondered if Yanxi restaurant would be a disappointment or not. The food would cost over 30 liang, but that was worth the while if the taste was authentic. Shao Yunduan and Shao Xiaoqi arrived after the two girls had waited for a while. Xiao Xian smiled brightly at Shao Yunduan. I heard that the restaurant serves authentic southern dishes, let's just have a try. Shao Yunduan smiled gently. There are many restaurants in the province that are worth trying out. We will visit them one by one. Chapter 403, Yuezheng Ting's Tears. Okay, sounds good. Xiao Xian smiled. Neither she nor Tao Tao mentioned the conflict with Yuezheng Ting to Shao Yunduan and Qi. That would just make the atmosphere worse. The Yanxi restaurant was expensive for a reason. The dishes were very well made, authentic, and the four of them were very satisfied. At the Yuezheng family's mansion, the atmosphere was very strange. Yuezheng Ting was crying to her mother, Ms.Mi, about what happened during the day. I managed to get the girl of the Xia family to join me for lunch, but I was so humiliated. Those two girls must have recognized me but still humiliated me on purpose. They are in a good relationship with the third cousin and must have heard something from him, thus treating me like this. How did they manage to befriend third cousin so they could humiliate me like this just to suck up to him? Will he make them rich? I won't let this go. Third cousin is bullying me. Mom, you have to help me. Those two countryside women have bullied me too. Ms.Mi got so angry, but she took a deep breath and caressed Yuezheng Ting and said, It is okay. I will ask him when he comes back what he means. How can he befriend some filthy people to bully his own cousin? How dare he? Yuezheng Ting cried even more fiercely. Mom, I want him to help me get to know the Xia family, or I will never leave him alone. Okay, don't worry. Yuezheng Shao returned home and was summoned to his second aunt's place by the maid. He raised his eyebrows, feeling surprised. Still he went there. Seeing Yuezheng Ting there with a pair of red eyes as if she had been bullied, Yuezheng Shao felt even more confused. She gave him an annoyed look which made him think about the previous instance. What are these two women thinking about doing again? Still planning to pester me? He could give one lipstick of each color to them as presents, but not for them to use as favors. Ms.Mi smiled. Nephew, who have you befriended these days? You are the young master of the Yuezheng family, and we are a famous family who should not befriend those filthy and unimportant people. You need to stay away from those lowly, unruly folks so they wouldn't bully our family. Otherwise, it would turn us into a laughing stock. Yuezheng Shao. I don't understand what second aunt is talking about. You can put it straightforwardly if you want to. Yuezheng Ting could not help but retort. Third cousin, I met the two women of that family whom you and young Master Xia ate a meal with. The two women bullied me today. They knew that I was your cousin, but they still humiliated me in public. Yuezheng Shao's face turned serious. Was Yuezheng Ting talking about Mrs. Shao and Tao Tao? They were definitely not like that. What happened? Ms.Mi asked him instead. Who are those two women? Where are they from? How did you get to know them? Maybe we have conducted business with them? Yuezheng Shao knew that Ms.Mi was trying to cause trouble. He kept his connection a secret and said, they don't have any business with us. Just with him. We are just ordinary friends. Cousin, how about telling me what is really going on? Ms.Mi snorted and pursed her lips. Chapter 404, For real Yuezheng Ting said, I, along with fourth miss and her cousin from the Xia family went to Yanqi restaurant for lunch. There was only one elegant room left. I asked the two ladies politely but they not only countered me but also stole the elegant room from us. I was humiliated in front of the two cousins at the Xia family. How could they do something like that? They are sucking up to you and taking things from us but humiliating me in front of everyone. Ms.Mi added. They humiliated the Xia family as well and offended them for no reason. Nephew, I suggest you stop hanging out with them lest you get stuck with them and offend other people. Countryside people are so rude. Yuezheng Shao said, Yanqi restaurant? As far as I know, Yanqi restaurant is a restaurant that sticks to rules. They offer rooms to those who arrive first, with no exception. They must have booked the elegant room in front of you, right? Yuezheng Ting, this is a simple matter. I can ask Yanqi restaurant about it. I know that the manager and the waiters should know about what happened. Yuezheng Ting could not lie any more and said angrily, they were just a step earlier than us and were talking with the manager. They had not even booked the room. Half a step earlier is still earlier than you, otherwise the manager of the Yanqi restaurant would not have given the room to them. They did not bully you. Yuezheng Shao, are you a part of our family? Ms.Mi got furious. 1 or 2 steps earlier is nothing. They embarrassed us. They are your friends, and are making money through us, but they dared to humiliate the missus from the Yuezheng familia. Honestly, what made them so bold? We just need to talk. Yuezheng Shao sounded cold. Also, you are wrong, second aunt. They are not making money through us, and we never force people to do anything. Ms.Mi got furious. So it was Ting's fault? Looks like it. You, good, you must be feeling very proud to have bullied us from the second section of the family for not having a very successful businessman, right? Yuezheng Shao was surprised. Second aunt, I don't agree with what you said. We are simply discussing this matter. You are a bully if you try to push other people. Also, I think that second, fourth and fifth cousin are all excellent men. Why are they considered unsuccessful? Fifth cousin reads well and my father used to speak highly of them, so did my second uncle. Just get out of here. Ms.Mi's face changed, as she shouted at him hysterically. Yuezheng Shao got up and greeted her politely. Goodbye, second aunt. He had just walked out of the room, when Yuezheng Shao heard Ms.Mi's furious shouting and scolding as well as the sound of china smashing. He snorted and left leisurely. This second aunt of his really loved to make a scene. She was greedy, stupid, narrow-minded, and suspicious. She was domineering towards her subordinates, flattering her superiors. Now she had nothing else to do except curry favor with Madame Yuezheng. She could not give birth to a son, but refused to treat the second, fourth, and fifth cousin well. She kept changing the way of tormenting them. His own mother had the vision of protecting the 3 cousins so that even now they also had a very good relationship with the 2 cousins. The second cousin accompanied them in business dealings and they helped each other often. Chapter 405. Working harder. That made his second uncle feel very satisfied as well, so when his second aunt tried to turn them against each other, she inevitably failed. That was why he quit the family business. When he quit the family business, second uncle felt even more satisfied and the family would get more stable and his mother felt more assured taking care of his father in town. His fifth cousin was very smart. He had been reading a lot since he was young, so the family decided to train him to work for the government. But for some reason, the second aunt was worried that when the fifth cousin became an officer, his mother, Concubine Min's position would be raised. So, she got Concubine Min killed first. Though there was no direct evidence, people were well aware of the fact. Fifth cousin was not too young at the time and he remembered it. For that, he would probably get second aunt killed when he reached a high position in the government. How dare she scold him like this right now? She was so stupid. Yuezheng Shao thought for a while and decided to visit Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian at the hotel in the afternoon. Yuezheng Ting had offended his friends and he needed to express his stance. Xiao Xian had not intended to tell Shao Yunduan about this, but now the secret was revealed. She heard him speak a few words and said to Yuezheng Shao, "Lady Yuezheng was quite rude at the very beginning, so I did not give away the elegant room to her, is that okay?" Yuezheng Shao laughed. "Sure. The first one there gets it first, just ignore her." Xiao Xian smiled. "Thanks." Speaking of this, Yuezheng Shao decided to have a friendly get-together after the scholars' gathering. He also stressed before leaving that he would offer any help if needed. When he was gone, Shao Yunduan looked at Xiao Xian. "You are fine, right? Why didn't you tell me about it?" He was a bit unhappy to hear that his wife had been bullied and that he knew nothing about it. Shao Xiaoqi and Tao Tao exchanged a look and left the room quietly. Their instinct told them that they should leave the room at the moment. Feeling her heart warm up, Xiao Xian blushed a little when being stared at by his scorching look. She just felt a bit sad to see his hands withdrawing, when they were almost about to reach hers. "I am fine, I just thought that I didn't need to bother you about it." She did not want to get humiliated in front of the public, so she would not have done anything extreme. The Yuezheng family are a rich family and they have a large network with many contacts around. Lady Yuezheng must be spoiled enough not to be used to this situation. What if she does something terrible in secret to you? Just tell me if something strange happens in the future, okay? Shao Yunduan knew that it was because he was not strong enough so many things like this happened. Otherwise, he would have gone back to Yuezheng Ting to demand an explanation. He was a man who could read, and passing the imperial examination was the only way to make him stronger. He needed to work harder. Xiao Xian felt her heart turn soft. She looked up and smiled at him with a pair of sparkling eyes. Okay, I got it. I will not keep anything from you ever again, okay?" Shao Yunduan nodded and his heart started to beat nervously. "As long as I am here, no one will ever bully you." "Okay, I know." Shao Yunduan smiled. "Good, do remember that in mind." The couple looked at each other, feeling their hearts turning warm. Shao Yunduan did not tell her how he felt for her because he was not qualified enough at the moment to do so. Xiao Xian was not anxious to hear what she wanted to hear. He had only her and he only cared about her. Chapter 406. Sensing something on the day of the gathering, Yuezheng Shao got a wagon to drive Shao Yunduan and Shao Xiaoqi to the venue. Xie Jingrong would be present there too. He was going to keep an eye on Shao Yunduan secretly rather than stay by his side. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao decided to take this opportunity to travel around the town. They wanted to buy a lot of things to plant for the dessert stores, and also needed raw materials for the lipsticks and extract essence. Xiao Xian was going to do business outside the county. Now that they had come here, they were going to stroll around the place, while enjoying the scenery to see what they could possibly run into so that they would not miss anything. She had a lot of savings. If she could buy a piece of land in the outskirts of the province or somewhere far away from home, she would benefit a lot from that purchase as well. There would be a great deal for them. The two girls rented the wagon which they had rented before. According to the coachman, there was a beautiful sight several kilometers away from the center, so that was where they headed towards. They asked the coachman to wait at the site, whilst Xiao Xian and Tao Tao took a look around the place. They seemed as if they were just idling around, yet with Xiao Xian's superpower, she was trying to pick the place where the plants could grow well and in large clusters. Tao Tao was a bit unsure. She glanced around and whispered to Xiao Xian. "Fifth sister-in-law, are we safe here? Let's just take a walk in the close-by area only, okay?" Xiao Xian chuckled inside her heart. She was not afraid of any danger here. She could receive a lot of help from the plants. One bad guy, and she would make those plants help her out quite effectively. "Don't worry, we are in the outskirts of the province. It is very safe here. There are many villages and abbeys here, no one would dare to do anything to us." Tao Tao trusted her fifth sister-in-law deeply, so when she heard what she said, she nodded and smiled with a kind of embarrassment. "Oh, in that case, I am assured." They were walking when Xiao Xian suddenly turned to the eastern side. She had a sense that beyond this stream, through that patch of forest, there was something summoning her, or, rather her space. The space had not been this eager before. It was craving for something badly. Something extremely good must be present on the other side. Motivated, Xiao Xian took Tao Tao to walk eastwards. They walked through the woods and saw an abbey. The tall black brick wall separated the inside from the outer area, only some tall trees protruded from the wall with thick branches. Looking up, they could faintly see the black root ridge and raised cornices. Xiao Xian was a bit confused. The good things were inside the abbey that belonged to someone else. She had no idea who owned the abbey, and she wondered what kind of people were inside the abbey. They could not just go inside abruptly. They needed to be prepared before going in. She knew how to behave properly. "Let's leave." Xiao Xian was not regretful. She bore this place in mind and would try to find out the owner of the abbey after they went back to the center. Hearing Xiao Xian sighing, Tao Tao assumed that it was because they could not continue since the abbey belonged to someone else. She consoled her. "Let's turn to another path." They had just walked a few meters when they ran into a middle-aged maid and a young maid, who were walking towards them accompanying a plainly dressed middle-aged madam. The madam looked tall with a long and thin face. She looked ill and seemed to have a preoccupied mind. She was walking with her head lowered with the help of the middle-aged maid. Chapter 407, Encounter with First Madam. The woman maid held a basket with a lid, and the three of them were not talking. Seeing that, Xiao Xian and Tao Tao made way for them to pass through. 2 meters away from them, the woman swayed and then collapsed with her eyes closed. The middle-aged maid and young maid cried out together as they helped the madam up. "First Madam, please, First Madam. First Madam, wake up, please, wake up." Xiao Xian and Tao Tao went up to help them without any hesitation. But they did not know how to cure sick people. "Auntie, should you take the lady into the city for a medical checkup? We have a wagon and we can take you there." The maid looked up and saw Tao Tao and Xiao Xian. She forced a smile and said, "It is fine, but could you help us to carry her back to our abbey?" The maid clearly knew that First Madam was distressed mentally, and that's why she became sick. She was in a bad mood, thus passing out. It was not that she had any disease. She was disturbed in her heart, and needed to get that problem cured from the root, otherwise she would not be able to recover. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao nodded. Together with the middle-aged maid, they helped the madam back to the abbey, which happened to be the place Tao Tao and Xiao Xian had intended to go to a while ago. As they went into the abbey, the servants came with a chair and carried their first madam back to the room. The middle-aged maid asked the housekeeper to take Xiao Xian and Tao Tao to the hall. She apologized to them before heading back to First Madam to see how she was doing. The medical pills were slowly dissolving inside warm water. Auntie Hua ordered the other maids to get First Madam to lean against the chair, as she fed the medicine into her mouth. Gradually, First Madam opened her eyes. The abbey wasn't very big, yet it was quiet and neat. Looking out from the window of the flower hall, they could see the corridor pavilion, rockery and lake stones among the flowers and trees. The trees were lush and green, and everything was very neat. The maids served them tea and pastry, and stood quietly by the doorstep. Tao was feeling uneasy. She had not expected that they would run into such a beautiful abbey. She looked at her sister-in-law who looked very serene, so she tried to calm herself down too. But what she did not know was that Xiao Xian was not feeling calm at all. Her space was getting agitated and she knew where the good thing should be, yet she just could not touch it directly. Such a feeling sucked. Xiao Xian and Tao would have left by now but for her curiosity towards that unknown thing. She did not need to stay to seek favor, or attempt to establish a friendship with this family, since all they did was to help carry the woman home. But that unknown piece of treasure was tormenting her mind so much that she really wanted to see what it was. Auntie Hua came before Xiao Xian and Tao waited for too long. "Thank you for your help today. Our first madam would like to meet you to express her gratitude, but she is too sick to come over. She has asked me to thank you." Auntie Hua bowed to Xiao Xian and Tao, as she offered a palm-sized brocade box in orange color. She said with a smile, "It is already lunchtime, why not stay for lunch here at the abbey?" Chapter 408, Treasured Xiao Xian turned down the brocade box. "It is just a small favor, we cannot accept such a big present. If it is okay with you, we would like to have lunch here." Startled, Auntie Hua smiled. "That is totally okay, please stay for lunch, this present, just put it away, we can't accept it." Xiao Xian just could not accept such a large present just because she did a small favor for them. Seeing her resolute attitude, Auntie Hua did not insist, but exchanged names between each other so they could be served lunch soon. Xiao Xian could not give up the chance of taking a walk around and begged the maid. "Auntie Hua, can we take a walk around this garden? It looks so beautiful." It might be a little rude for them to make a proposal like this just because they had done them a small favor. Slightly surprised, Auntie Hua did not expect that a properly behaved woman like Xiao Xian would propose something like this. Despite her slight displeasure, Auntie Hua nodded with a smile. "Sure, just walk around as you wish, but don't go too far." "Thank you." Xiao Xian smiled and thanked her. Tao thought that her sister-in-law was really interested in the landscape in the garden, so she was also very glad to have a chance to take a look around this beautiful garden. The two girls walked into the garden. Xiao Xian had a predetermined goal in her mind. She simply followed the direction the space was summoning her to. Soon, they came to the deep side of the garden. Then, she was shocked. She was totally taken aback, facing the patch of woods in front of her. Tao could not help but breathe. "It smells so good, what are these trees? They are giving off such a nice scent." Xiao Xian, of course, there was a great smell. The forest was not large but there was so much sandalwood, which was emitting the fragrance. The trees were very well trimmed, despite the size. Some large trees would be as old as 40 years. Xiao Xian did not recognize the trees, but she could sense that there was a smell of sandalwood. But she could also sense that the forest was filled with precious trees. That was because her space had turned desperate for them. If she was more knowledgeable, she would be even more shocked, because the trees included sandalwood, yellow rosewood, lobular Venus red sandalwood, golden phoebe, camphor tree, purple camphor tree, cold scented tree and more. The owner of the abbey apparently loved those precious woods, so they had this patch filled with trees many years ago. These were huge trees. Xiao Xian could not help but walk into the trees, when she saw a very tall, sky-piercing tree. But she could not just take them. She wanted to get a few twigs but she failed to reach them. She needed to walk up to the tree to get them. Xiao Xian struggled for a while, but didn't ask Tao to climb the tree together. It would be embarrassing if people in the abbey saw it, especially after they were received so warmly. If she did this, it would be too disrespectful and unsuitable. Xiao Xian thought and decided to ask Auntie Hua to get 2 twigs for them, small ones would do too. As long as these twigs went into space, with the blessing of magical power, the space would be full of vitality. The small branches could take root and grow vigorously. Chapter 409. Repair the trees from all over the country were all gathered here, which was not a very easy thing to achieve. The owner must have spent a lot of money and energy on this project. They were all precious things, and the owner might not be willing to share anything with her. But she could give it a try. Sister-in-law, look, someone is there. Tao Tao tugged at Xiao Xian's sleeves, as she pointed at a place not far away. The forest was not shadowed by any bushes or weeds, but the trees were flourishing and they were not able to see everything at one glance, unless she used her superpower. Following Tao Tao's direction, Xiao Xian looked through the trees and saw a gray-haired man sitting on a wheelchair, with his back facing her. Xiao Xian felt a bit lucky for not having climbed up the tree, otherwise she would have been seen and caused embarrassment. She did not dodge that man, and said to Tao Tao, maybe he is the owner. Let's go and speak with him. The two girls walked up and saw that the middle-aged man looked very skinny and sick. His cheekbones stood out and his hair had turned gray. Hello, Xiao Xian stopped the moment she started to speak. The middle-aged man's head was tilting to one side, his eyes were tightly closed and hands drooping. He had apparently passed out. Fifth sister-in-law, don't be scared. Xiao Xian was surprised too, thinking what kind of luck she had to run into two such people. She stepped forward quickly. She reached out for the man's pulse. The middle-aged man was wearing a robe in a dark brown color with golden lines. The wheelchair was made of rosewood, which she realized only when they got closer. It could be seen that even if he was not the owner of this place, he was definitely a master with status. Xiao Xian could not leave the man here like this. What if he was dead? Then how should she tell others about it? She needed to check his pulse first so she could either stay here or fetch someone. Xiao Xian was startled again when she felt the pulse. The man seemed to have been poisoned, the muscles in his lower body were severely blocked. That was why he could not walk, and his chest and internal organs were also damaged to varying degrees. As long as he was alive, he must endure unbearable torture. Xiao Xian subconsciously activated her superpower. It flowed through her fingertips and poured into the middle-aged man's body. The small but endless, energetic superpower slowly opened up the territory in the man's body, washing away the blocked tendons and repairing the dilapidated damage wherever it passed by. Tao Tao, who was standing next to her, got so nervous that she wanted to burst out in tears as she saw the fainted man and the absent-minded sister-in-law of hers. What was wrong with this man? Why was her sister-in-law not reacting? What was this terrible situation? What should they do? Old master. Yuan got so surprised when he saw two strange women standing next to his old master. He walked up and pushed the wheelchair backwards. Who are you? What are you doing here? Xiao Xian withdrew her move and said, sorry, mister. We were walking around when we ran into this place, and this old master seems to have passed out, so Yuan lowered his head and found that his old master had fainted. He let out a cry of surprise, ignored Xiao Xian and Tao Tao, and walked away in a hurry with the wheelchair. Chapter 410. For the time being, Yuan had just gone to the bathroom and something happened to the old master. His old master had to be all right. Xiao Xian, anyway, this person did not blame them for anything, which was already a comforting thing. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao were not in a mood to continue with the walk any longer. Also, Xiao Xian's purpose had already been achieved. Back to the hall, some maids laid out the table for them to have lunch. Xiao Xian asked about Auntie Hua, to which the woman maid said that Auntie Hua was in the middle of doing something so she could not be here. They were asked to eat lunch well. Xiao Xian suspected that the middle-aged man must be the owner of the abbey, and First Madam's husband. First Madam must have been taking care of her husband for a long time, so she collapsed out of tiredness. Xiao Xian could not help but feel sorry for them. Auntie Hua must be busy dealing with the old master, when she was working for the mistress. So, Xiao Xian did not ask anything more, but exchanged a few polite words, sat down and ate with Tao Tao. She could not mention asking for the twigs. She felt a bit sorry, but since she knew where those treasures were, she would find some ways to get them. She could ask Yuezheng Shao for help, right? The young maid in the abbey did not look down at Xiao Xian and Tao Tao just because they were plainly dressed or because they had never been here before. They were served with 6 dishes and 1 soup. The servants served them well. The reason why those servants were so well-mannered and did not judge people by their looks must be because their master and mistress had taught them so. It was a family with moralities. Xiao Xian could not help but develop a good feeling towards this family. She would not mind treating that old master if she had some opportunity in the future, in exchange for a few twigs from the precious trees. She was going to think of a good method to use the superpower without exposing her abilities or causing suspicion. After lunch, Xiao Xian and Tao Tao waved them goodbye. They took a walk around and went back to where the wagon was stationed, then they went back to the city together. It was almost 4 in the afternoon when the 2 girls arrived at the hotel. Shao Yunduan and Qi had not yet returned as the evening touched down. They might not be able to come back for dinner. So, Xiao Xian and Tao Tao ate some simple dinner at the hotel rather than wait for them. Sure enough, when they returned, it was already dark outside. Shao Yunduan had drunk some wine, and walked in with the help of Qi and Chushan. Luckily, he still had a pair of bright eyes. He was not fully drunk. No one liked to take care of drunk people. Chushan did not leave directly after he helped Shao Yunduan. Instead, he left after helping Shao Yunduan wash up. Xiao Xian thanked Chushan and gave him a red packet containing 1 liang, and asked Qi to walk him out. Then, she asked Qi about the gathering. Speaking of it, Shao Xiaoqi could not help but tell Xiao Xian and Tao Tao the story vividly. It was a very bustling event. They made poetry and discussed articles. Everything looked lively. He could not understand it all, but he could still tell that there was competition in the happy place. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao showed concern about Shao Yunduan, to which Shao Xiaoqi said proudly, "Fifth brother is excellent." Everything spoke highly of his articles. Some people looked down at him initially, but when he made the articles, they were all convinced, especially when young Master Xia praised him as well. After that, everyone started to look at fifth brother in a different way. Chapter 411, Flashback. Tao Tao was very happy and laughed with pride. Xiao Xian felt proud on behalf of her husband too. That was what a celebrity could bring about. Her husband owed young Master Xia a huge favor. But young Master Xia never told lies. If he spoke highly of her husband, then her husband must be worth the praise. So, should she be hopeful for the autumn examination? The thought pleased Xiao Xian completely. It was the best news ever. The following day, the 4 of them ate breakfast together. The gathering continued on this day. Shao Yunduan did not get too drunk the night before, so he was already quite sober by this time. He even inquired about Xiao Xian and Tao Tao about where they went the day before. Xiao Xian did not mention the abbey, but only told him briefly about taking a tour outside the town. Shao Yunduan was about to say something, when Xiao Xian smiled. Just very close to town, somewhere with many people around. We didn't or will not go too far. Shao Yunduan smiled too, and dropped his idea to nag her. Don't travel too far. After breakfast, Shao Yunduan and Qi went out, whilst Xiao Xian and Tao Tao stayed for a bit longer at the hostel and then stepped out for shopping. There were a few sites with beautiful landscapes that were worth visiting. At the abbey, Old Master, who was in a coma, woke up finally. The Old Master had been seriously injured in an accident before. His legs were crippled, and other body functions were also damaged to some extent. Most of the time he lay down in a daze every day. Going into coma or experiencing occasional pains happened often. There were some occasions when he would feel better. Whenever he felt better and the day was nice, he would go out in the wheelchair, asking his servant to help him check the forest consisting of the precious trees that he had planted 30 years ago. When the Old Master woke up and saw his wife sitting by the bedside crying, he responded with a smile. "You are still not used to this, are you?" Madame forced a smile. "Of course not. You have to get well, don't frighten me." She was not afraid of taking care of him, nor was she worried about keeping him company in this tedious abbey. She was just scared that he would pass out and never wake up one day. The doctor said that his body was already very weak, and his viscera had been severely damaged. These years, he only relied on precious medicinal materials to continue his life. Despite that, it was still getting worse little by little. One day, it would turn so bad that his body wouldn't be able to bear it any longer. At that point, it would be the end of his life. But his wife did not dare to let him know about that. It was something that continuously pained her heart like a blade hanging over her head, which might drop any time. Especially during the past 1 year, he was getting worse and any small occasion would make her nervous. But despite the relapse that happened today, Old Master looked good and ate a lot more food during dinner and drank a more bowl of soup. Maybe I had been trapped indoors for too long, and today, I am much better and feeling more energetic. His wife felt very nervous upon hearing the words. This should not have been the last moment before death, right? She forced a smile. Good that you are getting better, good. First Madam slept in the Old Master's room that night. She barely dared to close her eyes in case something happened. Chapter 4:12. Curious. Luckily, Old Master woke up in time the next day, and he seemed to have turned better than the day before. The doctor came to check on the Old Master today and was shocked. Old Master, Madam, did you consult another doctor? Or did he drink any medicine or get acupuncture or anything else? Huh? What? Both Old Master and Madam were confused. What do you mean, Dr. Tang? You are the only doctor who is taking care of his health, and he eats and takes medicine according to your instructions. No one else is involved. For real? Of course, I am not joking about this. Madam said seriously. Dr. Tang said, Madam, please, I don't mean anything like this. It is just. I found that Old Master has turned much better than before. Dr. Tang gave a hard pinch on Old Master's left calf, and said, Sorry. The Old Master let out a scream. It hurts. Madam stiffened, and Auntie Hua as well as everyone else all got very shocked. What are you saying, Old Master? Madam's voice shivered. It hurts. Dr. Tang, can't you be gentle, you? The Old Master finally realized what was going on. He stiffened too as he mumbled. Am I dreaming? Pinch me again, now. He lost feelings for his legs ages ago, and a pinch, or even a stab of knife would lead to no feelings at all. But Dr. Tang just pinched him and he felt the pain. He could not believe that it was real. Dr. Tang pinched him again. Ah, it hurts. Old Master inhaled and said, Dr. Tang, can't you be gentle? Everyone burst into laughter. Auntie Hua smiled and said, This is great news, Madam. Every servant started to pass on congratulations to the Old Master. First Madam could not help but smile. That is a piece of great news. Dr. Tang, what on earth happened? Thank you so much for your help. Dr. Tang shook his hands. No, Madam, this has nothing to do with me. If I were this capable, I would have cured the Old Master long ago. Not only have Old Master's legs gotten better, but the previously blocked tendons also show signs of unblocking. Even the wounds in his viscera also get better. This is definitely not my contribution. I am also wondering who is so capable to have done so. Dr. Tang looked very expectant. Old Master and Madam exchanged a look between themselves. Oh well, Old Master, Madam, just think about it thoroughly. Did you run into anyone today? Or ate, or drank anything different? Anything? Old Master and Madam thought deeply. There was nothing out of the ordinary. My Old Master is receiving treatment in the abbey and no guests come over except for his son and daughter-in-law who visit him sometimes. Auntie Hua smiled. Yeah, it is very quiet here, and the Old Master is receiving treatment here because he doesn't want to be disturbed. No one was here today except Madam Shao and her sister-in-law, who helped us to get Madam home. Dr. Tang's eyes sparkled as he said, They did not meet the Old Master? It was an offhand question, but Dr. Tang was very curious to know the truth. He did not want to leave out any possibility. Chapter 4:13. dreaming Auntie Hua laughed. Of course not, they didn't even meet the old master. Yuan suddenly looked up and looked at Auntie Hua. He thought for a while and said carefully, the two ladies? They did meet the old master yesterday. Yuan recounted what happened in the forest the day before. Dr. Tang added. Old master was in a coma, and no one knows what they did. Where are they right now? Can I meet them? Everyone present. They felt that Dr. Tang had turned mental. Madam smiled. Dr. Tang, that can't be possible. I don't think that is possible either, so I need to find out what is going on. Can it not be because your medicine works? Impossible. I know what medicine I have prescribed. What about doing it like this? We look for the two ladies. In the meanwhile, old master, madam, and Auntie Hua, you can start to recall what you have given or done to old master, or eaten anything special. If we find the cause, the old master's health could turn better. Everyone got very motivated. Dr. Tang, you are saying that old master is becoming better. Can you check him more carefully and see what is it that made him better? Dr. Tang laughed bitterly. If I was able to do so, I would definitely have found the cause. But I can't. Old master's health has improved, but I don't know how. I need to find the cause, madam nodded. Okay, I got it. Dr. Tang added. If you find the cause, you have to tell me about it definitely. Of course. Dr. Tang sighed and left. Madam asked Auntie Hua to think it through carefully and asked the servants to fetch her son. Her son was very good at finding people. It turned out that her son was Yuezheng Shao. Yuezheng Shao was doing accounting in the study, and when he heard that his mother was looking for him, he got frightened and miscalculated things. He turned anxious suddenly, wondering if something bad had happened to his father. So, he hurried off to look for them. His mother had never urged him so quickly. He arrived at the abbey and heard what happened to his father. He became so happy. No wonder his mother was in a hurry. His mother just could not wait to tell him the good news. First, Madam narrated what Dr. Tang had told them, and said bitterly, "We are clueless about this. We are wondering what happened to your father. Can you help us find a couple of ladies?" Yuezheng Shao listened to her carefully. But as the story went, he felt that something was getting really weird. Madam Xiao, Mississippi Shao. Sister-in-laws? But weren't they? How did they end up coming to his abbey and cure his father? Also, since when did Madam Xiao know how to cure people? Yuezheng Shao felt as if he were dreaming. Are you listening? First, Madam patted him as she saw her son's mind drifting away. Yuezheng Shao smiled. I am. You need to find those two ladies, right? I will definitely get them here for you. Chapter 414, Invitation. He could not help but describe what Xiao Xian and Xiao Taotao looked like. Auntie Hua's eyes widened. Yeah, that is it. Do you know them, third young master? First, Madam was very surprised too. Yuezheng Shao smiled. If it was them who were here, then you don't have to worry. We are actually good friends. Madam Xiao's husband, Xie Jingrong, and I get along very well with each other. Madam Xiao is a very smart woman. She can do business well. Hearing that the lipsticks, which were so popular and always out of stock, originated from Madam Xiao, first Madam was taken aback. Is she really that good? What a pity that I did not meet them yesterday. Auntie Hua was very surprised, and chuckled. You can't judge people by their looks. Madam Xiao and her sister-in-law looked very ordinary, but they have such hidden abilities. Auntie Hua could not help but feel lucky that she had not looked down upon them the day before, otherwise it would have been so embarrassing. You have not seen them, and I am not sure if they are the ones whom you are looking for. I will go and meet them now. First, Madam nodded, and urged him. Go right away, don't delay it. Yuezheng Shao left the abbey, went onto the wagon and told the coachman to head towards the hotel where Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were staying. I have not yet confirmed it, but I do feel that they were the saviors. Sister-in-law is a great woman, and I am good as well. What luck I have. Yuezheng Shao came to the hotel, but Xiao Xian and Tao Tao were not there. The two ladies had gone shopping. They planned to try different cuisines, so they took a slow walk around and bought some interesting things. Yuezheng Shao could do nothing but wait at the hotel. It was not long after lunch that the two ladies returned. Sister-in-law, Tao Tao. Yuezheng Shao's eyes were sparkling. He was a very calm man, but this was about his father and he could not hold back the excitement. Yuezheng Shao's sparkling eyes startled Xiao Xian and Tao Tao. Young Master Yuezheng. What happened? Sister-in-law, please tell me, did you go to an outskirt abbey called Southern Garden yesterday? Xiao Xian was startled. She felt that something weird was going to occur. There was one faint idea that almost popped in her mind. Yes, we were there yesterday. How did you get to know? What a coincidence. Yuezheng Shao laughed as he struck the table. That is where my parents live. You helped my mother and then my father yesterday. I don't know how to thank you. Xiao Xian, Yuezheng Shao said resolutely, you cured my father, didn't you? Please, sister-in-law, help my father and we will be grateful to you for the rest of our lives. Please stop. Xiao Xian smiled helplessly. So the man we ran into yesterday was old Master Yuezheng? Actually, I am not a doctor, but I have some knowledge with massage and acupuncture. I was worried about old Master yesterday, so he is better now, right? Yuezheng Shao laughed bitterly. My father has been ill for many years. He was seriously injured in an accident when he was walking with a caravan. His legs became numb and his internal organs were severely damaged. All these years, he has just been dragging his body until yesterday. But you helped him and his spirit has improved a lot already. Dr. Tang diagnosed him today and found that he has become better, and his legs are also feeling some sensation. Chapter 4:15, Tryout, sister-in-law, you can definitely save my father. Please, help us. Xiao Xian was very surprised. Did it work out well? Yes, it worked very well. Yuezheng Shao nodded constantly. Please, sister-in-law, can you come with me to Southern Garden, please? Xiao Xian fell into contemplation. Yuezheng Shao coaxed her. Southern Garden is close by. I promise to drive you back to the hotel before the gate closes. Yuezheng Shao would not have urged her so much if it had not been for his father's health. He seemed to be a little bit disrespectful when he was pushing her in this way. But Xiao Xian could understand his mood. If he were to remain calm when it came to his father, then such a man would be deemed as cold-blooded. Okay, we will come with you. But I am not sure if I can be of any help. Yuezheng Shao did not care, and said with a smile, of course, sister-in-law, you can check him first. We won't force you to do anything. Xiao Xian smiled. That was true. They went to Southern Garden and met the First Madam. First Madam sized up Xiao Xian and could not help but develop a good feeling towards this woman. She looked graceful, open and made people feel comfortable. It was you who helped us yesterday, and I should have met you personally yesterday, I am sorry. Xiao Xian smiled. That is fine, First Madam. You are busy and you didn't have time for polite pleasantries. You treated us well though. Also, First Madam, you needed to rest well too. Thank you for your understanding. First Madam smiled briefly, and lowered her head. Her nerves remained tensed up all the time, but there was nothing she could do about it. Yuezheng Shao cleared his throat and said with a smile, sister-in-law, please don't be so restrained. You can address my mother as aunt, and if you don't mind, my mother can call you niece. First Madam and Xiao Xian laughed. She did not refuse and greeted First Madam by addressing her as aunt. First Madam asked them for their names and called them by their names. She even gave Tao Tao and Xiao Xian a pair of ruby-embodied golden hairpins as greeting presents. They exchanged a few words and then talked about what happened the day before. First Madam realized that Dr. Tang had guessed it right. Xiao Xian had helped her husband. She could not help but exclaim with excitement. Xian, could you please help him again? He has been lying in bed for so many years, and I am afraid. First Madam started to sob. Yuezheng Shao turned to her and consoled her. Don't be sad, Mom. He is getting better, right? His health will surely improve. He and his elder brother had never stopped hiring the best doctors around. Xiao Xian consoled First Madam and replied soothingly. I will give it a try. Let's see if that works. First Madam was so grateful already that Xiao Xian had decided to help them. Xiao Xian had no idea how to do acupuncture or massage. She could not even recognize any spots. She came to help without bringing any needles along as well, claiming that they had come in a hurry. But they had needles ready at the abbey, which could be used. As she put the needles on the calf, these caused no feelings except for pain. After putting on the show for a while, Xiao Xian said, maybe if uncle is in a coma, he would be totally relaxed, and the treatment would work better. Chapter 4:16, Superpower for Disease. First Madam and Yuezheng Shao exchanged a look with each other. But there were all kinds of methods for curing diseases, and it was not a strange thing that people could receive acupuncture when in a coma. Also, it seemed that Xiao Xian did help him when he was in a coma the day before. Yuan had taken care of the old master for years, and he knew a little bit about medical treatment. After receiving approval from old master, First Madam and young master, he gave a needle at a spot of old master's neck. Old master passed out with his eyes closed. Xiao Xian, that was very professional. When the man passed out, Xiao Xian got down to doing her bit. She asked the others to leave them alone in case she was disturbed. But they were allowed to watch how she did it. Being far away, Xiao Xian pretended to needle old master's wrist, but by using her figure and hand movements, she covered it up. In fact, she put 2 fingers lightly on his wrist, and calmly poured in her superpower into old master's body little by little. She commanded that the superpower should wash away old master's clogged tendons bit by bit, so that the severely injured internal organs were slowly repaired and got rejuvenated bit by bit. It required very accurate control of the flow and speed of the superpower, and old master's body was almost drained out. So, she had to take it slow, in case he could not stand the sudden instilling power. Otherwise, it would turn the good things into worse. This was the first time for Xiao Xian to do this to someone. She understood that it was the right thing to do, but she did not have enough time or experience to use as reference. So all she could do was to follow her own instincts little by little. It was a very high energy consuming exercise. She started to have sweat on her forehead, cheeks, and on her back. Her face started to turn increasingly pale. First Madam, Yuezheng Shao, and Tao Tao saw the changes in her. They were all so nervous. But they were very convinced by her skills by this point. Almost 1.5 hours later, Xiao Xian let out a sigh of relief and collapsed on a chair. The others walked up to her quickly. Fifth sister-in-law, how are you doing? Sister-in-law, are you all right? Are you okay, Xian? Auntie Hua, come quickly with the ginseng soup. Xiao Xian let out a breath, as the superpower went traveling through her body, and soon, she recovered. I am fine, don't worry. Really? Yeah, look at me, I look fine, right? I was just tired but now I am okay. Seeing that Xiao Xian looked well again and sounded just a little tired, they all let out a sigh of relief. Sister-in-law, what about my father? They all turned to look at Xiao Xian in anxiety. First Madam was already holding old master's hands, checking him. He should be fine. Xiao Xian smiled. He is not in a very bad situation, or we can say that my method should work on him. As long as he goes through proper post-treatment therapy, he should recover to normalcy in a few months. Xiao Xian needed to settle this at one go because the more she did this, the higher were the chances of her secret of being exposed. Really? Is that so? The mother and son stared at her in disbelief. Auntie Hua as well as Yuan were both surprised and happy. Chapter 4:17, Secret. Xiao Xian smiled bashfully. It should be right, what luck? No, it is not about luck. You saved our old master and we all saw that. First Madam did not know how to express her gratitude. Xian, you are our savior. If you ever need our help, we will spare no efforts to help you. Thank you very much, Aunt. The mother and the son could not calm themselves down until a long while later. Soon, the old master woke up. He had a very strange feeling inside. His disease was gone, and he felt so relaxed and cheerful, as if he had been reborn. When First Madam and Yuezheng Shao asked how he felt and received a positive answer, they were extremely glad. First Madam took hold of Qiao Xian's hands, not knowing what to say. Qiao Xian had saved their whole family. She just could not imagine how the family would be like if her husband passed away. Xian, you should never hesitate to ask me for anything in the future. Motivated, First Madam asked earnestly. I am older than you, so, can you become my goddaughter? In this way, we can be one family. The old master also believed that it was a great idea. He smiled in agreement. Both Qiao Xian and Yuezheng Shao were startled. How, Mom, let's talk about this in the future. Yuezheng Shao could see Qiao Xian's concern, which was also his worry too. LT is getting late, and she needs to head back to the hotel, otherwise Brother Shao would be anxious not to see her there. Dad, Mom, I will accompany them back to the town now. Oh well, First Madam and her husband were both confused. Qiao Xian let out a sigh of relief, smiled at him and left. First Madam noticed that it was getting very late too, and she also needed Dr. Tang to check her husband, so she saw them off enthusiastically and stressed that Yuezheng Shao should accompany them back to the hotel. Qiao Xian accepted the offer and said, Uncle, Aunt, actually, I didn't do much. I still believe that it is luck that cured Uncle. I am not a doctor, so please help me keep this skill of mine a secret, and not tell anyone else that I cured him. Qiao Xian was very pleased about the turn of events on this day. She had not expected that her superpower could cure diseases. Actually, it was not about curing a disease, it was about bringing things back to life and repairing the broken stuff. It was such a bizarre thing and needed to be kept a secret. In future, it would be used to save herself and family members, not to make money. Hearing that, Yuezheng Shao said seriously, Dad, Mom, if this is what my sister-in-law wants, we need to respect her. First Madam and her husband were both smart people, and hearing Qiao Xian's request, they understood what she was worried about. They nodded and said, Xian, don't worry, we will arrange everything well, and not spread out even a word about it. Feeling assured, Qiao Xian waved them goodbye and left. In the wagon, Yuezheng Shao released his fist and smiled at Qiao Xian with hesitation. Sister-in-law, I did not want Mom to, I got it. Qiao Xian smiled. That was what I thought as well. Really, what a wonderful coincidence. Chapter 4:18, Concern. Yuezheng Shao laughed. Great that you understand it. Even if my parents haven't taken you as their goddaughter, our relationship would not be affected. We are a family and you and Brother Shao can ask us for anything in the future. Qiao Xian smiled. Sure. Yuezheng Shao accompanied them to the hotel, but Shao Yunduan and Qi had not yet returned. Yuezheng Shao asked the coachman to speed up as he rushed out of the gate and headed back to Southern Garden. He was worried about his father and had decided to stay overnight at the abbey. First Madam and her husband decided to find Dr. Tang to check Old Master up after a few days since Qiao Xian did not want to reveal her identity. They needed to think about how to make up the story for his cured condition. The Old Master was well aware that he was getting better and did not need a doctor this soon. After all, Old Master's recovery was not going to remain a secret for long. The moment Yuezheng Shao came, First Madam blamed him. Why did you stop me from taking Xian as my goddaughter? Yuezheng Shao smiled bitterly. Mom, please, hear me out. It is not the right thing to do. Sister-in-law would not have liked it either. What? You know whose daughter is sister-in-law? Yuezheng Shao explained quickly. Her father is county magistrate of the county. The county magistrate used to work in the capital and he desperately wants to go back to the capital. He is selfish and narrow-minded, not a good man. Sister-in-law is his concubine's daughter and before she got married, She had not lived a good life in that house. Yuezheng Shao was curious about Xiao Xian, so he had looked into her family. Hence, he had a lot to tell First Madam when it came to this point. Think about this: if Officer Qiao and Madam Qiao get to know that you have taken sister-in-law as your goddaughter, they would definitely come and ask you for favors. At that time, are you going to say yes or no to them? Also, my sister-in-law has already remembered our gratitude. There is no need to take her as the goddaughter because she is aware of our feelings. First Madam could not help but feel sorry. She sighed emotionally. That explains it. You are right about this matter. This is her worry as well. Yuezheng Shao added. First Madam smiled. Then, we can drop the idea of taking her as our goddaughter. But we will always take good care of her. Officer Qiao must be stupid as to mistreat such an excellent daughter. He will regret it one day. Yuezheng Shao smiled. He is not the only stupid one. Thinking of her own sister-in-law, First Madam smiled. That is true. Hearing Xiao Xian's story, the First Madam felt even more sorry about Xiao Xian. She stressed to Yuezheng Shao that he should take more care of the Shao family and treat them as part of his family. Yuezheng Shao just did not know what to say. He might be the one to be taken care of by them instead. Yuezheng Shao asked his father how he felt, to which he replied positively. The whole family ate dinner happily. Shao Yunduan and Qi returned in the evening. Thankfully, they did not drink much that day. They walked in soberly. Xiao Xian decided to tell Shao Yunduan what they did at Southern Garden. Chapter 419, Ms.Mi Jr.'s guest Xiao Xian asked Qi and Tao Tao to buy some snacks for the night, and then sat down next to Shao Yunduan, tugging her clothes and telling the whole incident to Shao Yunduan. At first, Shao Yunduan thought that he had heard a fairy tale, but soon he understood what he had heard. Darling, so you cured the old master of the Yuezheng family? Hush. Xiao Xian put her finger to the lips. Don't be so loud. It was just a coincidence. Very surprising actually. I only did some acupuncture and massage and shockingly, it worked. It was a total coincidence that the old master got better with my clumsy technique. Shao Yunduan. Shao Yunduan laughed. You are just so lucky. Xiao Xian lifted her chin, raised her eyebrows and smiled. I think so too. The two of them smiled at each other. After a few moments, Shao Yunduan said again, oh yes, don't tell others about what happened today. What if someone comes to you for medical treatment? Then you would not be able to say no that easily, right? After all, Xiao Xian was lucky to have cured the old master, but she might not be able to cure anyone else, who might not be so easygoing like the Yuezheng family. Xiao Xian felt her heart become warm, and she nodded. Darling, I thought about this too, and I told young Master Yuezheng about it. His family would help us keep the secret. Shao Yunduan smiled and looked at her. That is good. You must be tired today, right? Sleep early. The gathering ends tomorrow. Andy can take you around for a tour before going home, all right? The weather had become a bit colder, but the house was as warm as spring. Under the soft light, talking about the word home made people feel warmer. Xiao Xian suddenly felt happy physically and mentally. She looked at Shao Yunduan with moist eyes, and her pretty face became more and more lovable under the soft light. Shao Yunduan felt his heart throbbing, and he almost swept her into his arms. At the Yuezheng mansion. Someone from Southern Garden came to fetch Yuezheng Shao, who had not returned until midnight. Ms.Mi Jr. became happy. She guessed that the old master was dying and that's why Yuezheng Shao was asked to come over. That would be such great news. It was a pumsment roar not to marry Nadror. Ms.Mi Jr. spent a whole night thinking about this, and early next day, she asked someone to find out if Yuezheng Shao had returned the night before. He did not. Ms.Mi Jr. became even more certain about her guess. She could not help but tell her husband about it. When her husband was young, he was a romantic and elegant person. He especially liked making poems with literature. Yet after so many years, he still failed to make one that could earn him a name. He gave it up later, and decided to lead a life of playing around and drinking with friends, having fun all his life. He was living a very leisurely life. He had never been interested in family business. He could not even learn a thing about it, and it made his head ache. Chapter 420. Rumor. He was very satisfied by what he had now. His 2 sons were doing well in business, and his youngest son was good at reading. He was very proud, even though he had no lineal son. Hence, he ignored all family affairs. He focused only on enjoyment. Ms.Mi Jr. hated him for behaving like this. She felt so annoyed after being married to him for so long. The first old master was the supporter of the family, but her husband was just trash. The first old master had a pair of excellent sons, but she had no sons at all. Hearing her words, the second old master frowned in surprise. That is not possible. He has always been like this. If something had happened, he would not have concealed it from us. Ms.Mi Jr. sneered. Why not? He can conceal it from us so they can do something bad in secret. Second old master. The second old master was always very slow in this aspect. He snapped angrily. Why do you care? Mom is still alive and they can't do anything bad in secret. Moreover, our sons are also involved in the family business, and they would keep an eye on those who try to do something bad behind our backs. What are you worried about? Losing interest in hearing Ms.Mi Jr.'s babbling, the second old master went out, humming happily. Ms.Mi Jr. felt annoyed and there was fury arising inside her chest. What on earth had she done to end up marrying such a trash? After some complaints, Ms.Mi Jr. thought for a while and whispered something to her trusted servant. She was not going to drop it, even though her husband did not care. Yuezheng Si and Yuezheng Yan were her husband's sons, not hers. They might be successful in business, but none of their earnings would end up being in her hands. Hence, she had to make a plan for herself. She needed to get a share of the family business. Soon, rumor went around in the mansion that the first old master was doing bad at the abbey and was on his deathbed. Some even said that the third young master had been asked to go to Southern Garden, and he looked so worried when he went out. He spent a whole night there. Soon, Madame Yuezheng knew about it. She called her eldest granddaughter-in-law and Ms.Mi Jr. and asked about it. What happened to the eldest son? Do you know anything about the matter? Ms. Jean turned to Ms.Mi Jr. She was already aware of what to do with the second aunt-in-law, having been in a fight with her for years. She was going to let her second aunt-in-law answer Madame's question. Ms.Mi Jr. said, I am not sure, but someone from Southern Garden came to fetch Shao, who hurried away. He did not come home the night before, so we have no idea what is going on at Southern Garden. Shao left in such a hurry. He should have told us what happened, otherwise you will be worried, right, madam? Madame Yuezheng frowned and snorted, looking annoyed. Ms. Jean smiled. Madam, maybe he did not tell you about it because he did not want you to get worried. But I am sure that he won't conceal anything from you deliberately if something really bad is happening. I will get my people to look around at Southern Garden. Those servants indulge in too much gossip. He was at Southern Garden, and did not return overnight. What does that mean? Chapter 421. Investigation. Isn't it normal that he stays overnight at Southern Garden with the first old master and the first madam? Who spread the rumor? I will definitely find out who released the rumor. How dare those servants gossip about what happened to their masters? They have startled you, madam. Having heard what Ms. Jean said, Madame Yuezheng nodded. That is true, you need to find out who started the rumor and gossiped about the master. And that person was even jinxing her son. Even though she preferred Ms.Mi Jr. over her eldest son's wife, it was still her son they were gossiping about. She still did not want to hear anything bad about him. Find the culprit and punish that person seriously. Beat that servant and sell him or her out. We must not keep someone horrible like this at home. You are right, Madame Yuezheng. I will bear your instructions in mind. Ms.Mi Jr. clenched her teeth and cursed Ms. Jean inwardly. Since Madame Yuezheng approved of the investigation, she had no way to counter Madame Yuezheng, who might get annoyed hearing any contradictory words. But she still wanted to add fuel to the fire. But after all, Shao was still too impolite not to have informed us about this. Otherwise there would not have been any problem like this. Ms. Jean smiled. Second aunt-in-law, I don't agree with you. Third brother goes to Southern Garden so many times in a month, must he tell his servants every time he goes there? He is the master, and servants are those who work for him. They are not in a position to gossip and guess about their master's life. There is nothing more we can do about it now, let's wait until news from Southern Garden arrives. Madame Yuezheng, don't worry. I will arrange the investigation right away, what do you think? Niam Yuezheng 100 Kia at TNE 2 or TNM. Stop TNE argument. Sort out TNE matter first. You can go now. Madame Yuezheng was very satisfied with Ms. Jean, who always knew what she should do when faced with an emergency. Ms. Jean accepted the order and retired. Ms. Jean did not care if Ms.Mi Jr. was going to instigate Madame Yuezheng to do something else. Ms.Mi Jr. was in control of her own words, and that was beyond her reach. She only needed to focus on what she was entrusted to do. She had to find out the source of gossip. Her second aunt-in-law went way over the top this time. She started to create rumors about her father-in-law. She was going to counter her, else she would not have any idea how to explain that to her mother-in-law and husband. One night passed at Southern Garden. Yuezheng, Shao and his mother, including Auntie Hua and Yuan, were all very nervous, fearing that old master would return to where he had been before. But the old master turned out to be very lively when he woke up, saying that the night before was the best and most steady night he had experienced during the past few years, and that he felt nothing strange about himself. He even had some sensation on his legs, and he could feel Yuan's massage. If all went well, he might even be able to take a walk with people's help after a few days, and maybe after some more time of therapy, he would recover totally. Yuezheng, Shao and his mother were reassured and cheered happily. You have to thank Xian. First Madam smiled. Shao, find a good present for her. I have something for her too. Oh yes, what about inviting young Master Shao and Xian and the family over for food? We have to treat them properly. Yuezheng, Shao nodded with a smile. What about tomorrow noon? Today is the last day of the gathering. They were talking about therapy and invitation, when Ms. Jean's devoted maid arrived there. Chapter 422, Elder Sister-in-Law. The maid narrated all that Ms. Jean told her to, and First Madam's face sank slowly. How dare she spread rumors like this? Does she really think that there is nothing I can do about her? She, in First Madam's mouth, was Ms.Mi Jr. The more she thought about this, the more angry First Madam became. Is Ms.Mi Jr. crazy? I don't interfere with what is happening at the mansion, so she thinks that she can do whatever she wants. Good, I will talk to her about this soon. Someone must have spread the rumor about the old master, and that's why the servants dare to gossip about their masters. First Madam could figure out the culprit instantly. Yuezheng, Shao was disgusted too. But he stopped First Madam. Don't get angry, just ignore her. Dad is getting better now. Let's see how annoyed she becomes when she realizes what actually happened here. Anyways, I am going home now. First Madam breathed in forcefully and nodded. Don't tell anyone about your father's recovery, except for your elder sister-in-law. And tell her to stay tight-lipped as well. Okay, Mom. He was going to make it public when his father recovered completely. And his father was definitely going home for the new year. Yuezheng, Shao returned to the mansion and went to Madame Yuezheng directly. Madame Yuezheng asked him about the situation. Yuezheng, Shao was surprised. Dad is still under treatment, and he is fine. Who spread such a rumor? Mom urged me to go there because she said that Dad was missing me. So I hurried over and spent the night there. Who is so bold as to spread rumors about their masters? Grandma, you have to defend my father. Dr. Tang says that he is getting better these days, and if he hears such rumors, he might be really depressed. Hearing that her son was not getting worse, Madame Yuezheng let out a sigh of relief. Then she became furious. True. Find out who is behind this. Don't worry, your elder sister-in-law is already at it. Yuezheng Shao nodded and said, I will go and visit my elder sister-in-law and tell her about this, so she can be assured too. Madame Yuezheng nodded. Okay, do that. Yuezheng Shao told Ms. Jean about how his father was recovering and would most likely come to the mansion for the new year. He told her to stay quiet about the matter. Overjoyed, Ms. Jean pressed down her excitement and asked a few more questions out of concern. Yuezheng Shao told her everything. Ms. Jean smiled. Thank God for helping us, this is great news. Yuezheng Ting and her mother were annoying and kept causing her trouble. Even though her mother-in-law left some helpers for her, Ms. Jean was still very tired. After all, Ms.Mi Jr. was one generation older than her, and Yuezheng Ting was her sister-in-law, so she could not do much to counter them. She was burdened by some family affairs whilst dealing with those annoying mother and daughter. At the same time, she had to take care of her two sons. She wished so much that her in-laws could return to the mansion as soon as possible. She could only be truly relaxed when her mother-in-law was home. Every time she went back to her mother's home, her sisters and friends all felt so jealous of her for not having a pressing mother-in-law. But she could not explain how miserable that feeling was. Yuezheng Shao said. Parents should be home soon, so elder sister-in-law, just spare no efforts to carry out your investigation. Ms. Jean's eyes sparkled. Really? Of course. Okay, I got it. Ms. Jean suddenly felt motivated. She looked lethal and inspired, ready to get on with the investigation. She was definitely going to reveal Ms.Mi Jr. this time. Shao Yinduan and Xiao Xian could not turn down Yuezheng Shao's invitation for lunch. Chapter 423, Visit to the Southern Garden. To be honest, Xiao Xian did not want to turn the invite down. After all, he had been thinking about the precious trees. The next morning, Xiao Xian, Shao Yinduan, Tao Tao, and Shao Xiaoqi headed to Southern Garden with Yuezheng Shao for a visit. First Madam, who was immensely grateful to Xiao Xian, felt even closer to her after knowing about her story. Old Master had recovered quite quickly, basically improving every day. This was actually not surprising. Xiao Xian's superpower represented vitality. She had used her superpower to completely restore his body. All that was left was to recuperate and replenish qi and blood. As long as he ate well and rested well, and did some exercise, every day would bring new surprises. The old master was very particular with food, which was beneficial for replenishing the body, so he recovered even faster. Therefore, the old master received Xiao Xian and the family as well. He looked lively and happy. He did not seem to be tired at all. Shao Yinduan was very well-mannered and talked about various interesting topics, making the old master feel very happy. He felt that his son was good at making friends. Xiao Xian asked for a visit in the garden last time, but this time, First Madam volunteered to show Xiao Xian and Tao Tao around. There were countless flowers and trees in the garden. Although the old master did not have the opportunity to appreciate them often, First Madam still ordered people to take care of each flower and tree carefully, so that her husband would be able to appreciate the scenery in the garden whenever he wanted to and never feel sad. It was a time when chrysanthemums were blooming. First Madam took the two ladies in the garden for chrysanthemum viewing. First Madam had a wide knowledge about it, so she presented the categories to Xiao Xian and Tao Tao, who were pleasantly surprised. Xiao Xian had seen many kinds of chrysanthemums, but many had disappeared in the later generations, which were now lively here in the garden. Tao Tao was shocked too, and said, "We have so many wild chrysanthemums in the mountains and by the riverside. I thought that I had seen all kinds of them. But there are so many different kinds of them here. So beautiful and big, I like them all." That made First Madam and Auntie Hua laugh. First Madam said instantly, "If you like them, I will get Shao to deliver some to you. Is there anything else you want? Just tell me and I will give them to you, these are not expensive for us." Tao Tao was so surprised, and her eyes were sparkling. Instead, she turned to Xiao Xian. This was a chance delivered to their doorstep. Xiao Xian was just wondering how to lead them to the topic, when they mentioned the matter themselves. Xiao Xian smiled. Thank you for the offer, Aunt. We are building a new house, and we will plant some in our garden. First Madam smiled. Okay, Auntie Hua, do bear this in mind. In addition to chrysanthemums, get some good mountain peonies, Chinese peonies, French hydrangea, laurel, and magnolias later as well. Anything else you want? Auntie Hua smiled. Okay, madam. Xiao Xian smiled. Oh yes, Aunt, I find that you have some fragrant rosewood and red sandalwoods in the garden. Can I have some of those interesting plants too? Both First Madam and Auntie Hua were startled. Chapter 424, Prediction. Xiao Xian smiled. Small tree buds are fine, or even some twigs are all right. First Madam smiled. Xian, you do have good judgment. You like nothing except these expensive ones. Auntie Hua laughed. Very true. First Madam said, your uncle has been interested in those trees for a long time. He has bred many of these just to make wonderful furniture. He was worried that they would not be enough, so 30 years ago, he planted many tree buds in the southern garden, as well as in other gardens of ours. Some of the tree buds grew up, some failed to live, but those in southern garden grew best. I will fetch some suitable ones from the other two abbeys, and give them to you. Or I can just get Shao to buy some back. Twigs are useless, not that I am too stingy to share some with you. First Madam would not turn down what Xiao Xian asked for, though what she had asked for seemed quite unexpected. Her husband loved those things, and would not be stingy as to not share any with Xiao Xian. He could just buy some more buds and breed some more. Xiao Xian simply could not wait toward the tree buds, but smiled. Aunt, you don't have to make such a fuss. I am very good at planting trees and flowers. You can just give the twigs, I can definitely breed them well. Tree buds are not needed. First Madam. Although Xiao Xian tried to conceal her anxiety, First Madam still sensed how anxious she was about it. All right then, she could get her some twigs. Anyways, she was going to get the tree buds as well, so Shao could deliver those to her place later. First Madam did not believe that twigs were useful. But she pretended that she believed her. Okay, that sounds good. Auntie Hua, just get some twigs and tie them up for her. Okay, First Madam. Thank you, Aunt. No worries. First Madam smiled. Oh, what kind of twigs do you want? Tell Auntie Hua about it. Xiao Xian thought for a while and smiled. They don't have to be too big or long, also, no withered twigs. She made a gesture. This size will do. Auntie Hua nodded. I have remembered it all. The turn of events pleased Xiao Xian a great deal. Done. She had a feeling that after this, the space would definitely give her a lot of surprise. After walking for a while, First Madam took them back to the house for tea, snacks, and a casual conversation. At lunch, Yuezheng Shao stayed with Shao Yunduan and Qi whilst the First Madam was accompanying Xiao Xian and Tao Tao. First Madam had made a lot of efforts for this lunch. She transferred the chef from the mansion and started to make preparations the night before. The dishes were made with a lot of effort, and they were, of course, exquisite and delicious. Almost every noble family had their private dishes and special pastries. So did the Yuezheng family. The Yuezheng family's famous dishes were clear soup cubulos and abalone knuckles. The clear soup was extracted from chicken, duck, elbow, scallops, ham, and the soup was clear as water. The cubulos was smooth and soft but did not break when eaten. The freshness in the mouth was just indescribably wonderful. The abalone knuckles were flavored with a special broth, and the sauce was thick and bright, as oil and fat were removed, so the whole dish was soft and delicious. Chapter 425. Lucky these two dishes could not be eaten anywhere outside their family. First Madam introduced the specialties to the two ladies, and Xiao Xian and Tao Tao, after eating such delicious food, praised the dishes generously. It was always nice to see that the guests liked what the host had prepared for them, especially for First Madam, who had been taking care of her husband all this time and never got a chance to relax. She had not treated people over a meal in a long time. That was also the first banquet she arranged for people, which was significant for her too. Seeing that Xiao Xian and the family loved what she had arranged, she felt really happy. Xian, you are not in a hurry to go home, right? What about staying at Southern Garden for a few days? The chef is very good at making food, you can eat many delicious dishes here. But Xiao Xian could not stay overnight. She smiled. I should not turn down your invitation, but we have been away from home for too many days, and it is time for us to go back. We are building a new house and we can't be outside for too long. Also, Uncle is still recovering, and needs to be taken care of. We can't keep you busy at the moment. We will come to visit you on our next trip. First Madam smiled. It is a deal then. You definitely have to come to visit me often. When spring comes, just remember to come and see the flowers. There are many beautiful sites in the province which I have not visited for many years. We can go there together next time. Xiao Xian felt warm inside her heart, so she nodded and said, okay, I will definitely be here. The old master still needed to rest, so after lunch, Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan, as well as their family, left. First Madam told Yuezheng Shao numerous times that he should treat them well and should give them the wagon to go home. Yuezheng Shao nodded in agreement. The following day, Xie Jingrong treated them to a meal. At the banquet, he was surprised to hear about the old master's recovery and congratulated Yuezheng Shao sincerely. Later, Shao Yunduan went shopping with Xiao Xian, Qi, and Tao Tao for a day and bought some stuff. They decided to go home the next day. Yuezheng Shao had 2 wagons prepared for them, one for them to ride, and the other for the products and presents which the Yuezheng family gave to them. These included the twigs and some small tree buds which they had found. Yuezheng Shao said that when the new house was built and the spring came, he was going to visit them and bring the plants to them personally. He also said that the brocade boxes were presents given by his mother to Xiao Xian. It was still Chu Shan who drove them home. They set about before dawn, so when they arrived at the county, it was still quite early. Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan booked 2 rooms at the hotel, telling Chu Shan to stay there for one night as well. There was no good place for him to stay at their current home. They had just booked the hotel and were about to get onto the wagon, and they heard a sound of, hey, behind their backs. Startled, Xiao Xian knew that it was Xiao Ko who was there. She and Shao Yunduan exchanged a look. They waved and blinked at Chu Shan and the coachman in the wagon, thinking that they were lucky that they had not yet gotten into the wagon. Good. If Xiao Ko and Xiao Wei saw them going into the wagon, they would have had difficulty in explaining what was going on. Xiao Xian turned around and saw Xiao Ko lifting the drapery, smiling at her and Shao Yunduan. Next to her was Xiao Wei. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.